Welcome one, welcome all to no, shit, to Nebula Theater Cast.
Did you do that again?
I do it every time. Um,
Oh
I
boy,
am
it's a running
Pliam.
gag.
I am Pliam, showrunner of Nebula Theater, and below me I have Saul.
Hi, I'm Saul, director, writer, research lead of Nebula Theatre.
And Paul.
And below them, I am Paul. I am a researcher and yapper on Nebula Theater.
And Yapper. Um, Welcome all. We are going to be talking about some comic book matchups. Starting with, who are these people?
My turn to start? Okay. So, this, for people who don't know, because they might recognize one of the characters, that is Mr. Mixospidolic from DC. And Shio Gorath from the Elder Scrolls. So, to explain the, I guess, general idea of this, Shio Gorath is he's one of the Daedric princes. He is the, I believe, if I'm remembering, oh yeah, he is the Daedric Prince of Madness and the ruler of the Shivering Isles. The general idea of this is that they are trickster gods who love toying with reality and mortals. Mixie, people know that he's a Superboy, he's a Superman fanboy. Who is driven by like whimsy, while Shio is like a helper who occasionally, and he can mess people up. This was submitted by Mug, who, if you're not in the Discord, you should go and join. I'm sure there's a link, right? Somewhere.
In my community tab, there's a link. There actually might be a link in the comments here. Yes, there is. So.
Wow.
Wow.
But as you might imagine, with a fight like this, the animation potential is basically endless. They can do a lot. Realistically, they can do whatever they want, but they are playful in nature, so they aren't going to be taking this fight very seriously. Also, for those who people might know a little bit about Shio Gorath from what is it? Skyrim, where he has a brief side quest, but he's more in the previous Elder Scrolls, where he messes with the protagonist and stuff.
In terms of they can do a lot of stuff, but what it typically for each of them, if you were to fight them, what would they be doing in like a typical just fighting? So let's start with the guy on the left. How would he fight you?
Oh, Shio Gorath.
Yeah.
So in terms of what Shio Gorath can do and such, he exists as a manifest metaphor and is like an ideology given skin. So his body doesn't really matter. Like, he can bring people back from the dead, change the weather and the climate, which, funny enough, usually reflects his mood. He can manipulate time, dimensions. One of the things that he's able to do is use a weapon called the Wabbajack, which can do anything. It's something that you can actually get in the Elder Scrolls, it's like a stick thing. And Chio can teleport literally anything. The Wabbajack can cast powerful elemental spells, transmute people into mud crabs, cheese, and like a cheese wheel, He is also aware that he's in a story, which plays great with Mixie, who is also aware of that. So they can kind of commentate on what's going on.
Oh, God.
They can travel through time. So I know when this fight potential was discussed in our Discord, there was one where the two would be traveling to the time of the Dragon Crisis, where the new Sheogorath would meet the old one, and they would fuse together. So you can kind of get both of his personalities in, because he's a little bit more crazier.
Is he someone that like mellowed out over time or got crazier over time?
I think he just kind of stayed crazy. A little bit more crazier.
Okay, so they're both crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really fun. I know like they have really preferred mortals, so you can bring them into the fight and just throw them. Like I know one thing that was described is like having the fight presented as a tabletop at one point before one of them throws the table over and just start fighting instead.
That's kind of fun, though.
Yeah. I know Sheogorath has a guy called Haskill, who is like his assistant, who he would just use as a human shield. Yeah, this one's really fun. It's very reminiscent of what I've talked about with Q versus Toymaker. In the case of like godlike combatants who are just going to mess about. The fight setup is pretty simple, where it starts in Cryodil, because Mixie would be interested in like the fantasy heroes, which leads him to do the shenanigan, like his, Mr. Mixer-Spittle-Lick, he's a trickster, right? So he would mess with the hero of Kalvtak, which I believe is the Oblivion protagonist, who is the chosen of Sheogorath. So Sheogorath would appear and be like, I don't like anybody fucking with this guy apart from me, bud. You better get out of here.
Sherm wants to know what Sheogorath's ideology is.
In terms of his ideology is a little bit difficult to kind of explain, but again, he is more about. There's some water out there. He's about fun and stuff like that. He's like nonchalant and silly. And I don't actually know enough about, because I haven't actually played the old Elder Scrolls stuff. I've only actually started playing Skyrim. So I couldn't really go into his ideology that well. But again, he is a central character in the other games. It'd be funny for having a moment where he turns Mr. Mixie into cheese. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. I can't hear playing. Is that a me issue?
Sorry.
I can't hear my...
I muted my mic because I was having a coughing fit.
Oh, okay.
The next one is Rogue versus a character that I think is a Sonic character.
Bunny Rabbot. Spelled Rabbot.
What is she?
She is a freedom fighter and one of the Sonic Sat-AM original characters that has Archie debuted, and then is best known in the Archie comics. I really like this one. I think Rogue is a very interesting character, and one of the best known X-Men that I would love to discuss more in Versus. What makes this one work so well is not just, oh, well, they're Southern girls, that's it, but more how much they feel detached from the other members of their families. Bunny's backstory is that those robotic parts in her body, those aren't like implants or like attachments. Those are when she was in the roboticizer, which is how Eggman turns people into robots, and she was saved from it halfway through. So she is no longer fully, she is half human, half robot now, and that always sits with her. It just never feels right.
I have a small question about how we would look at Rogue, because kind of a lot of her powers is based on power absorption, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So would we look at her in terms of she would have the powers of those she has absorbed? Or would
So
she just be a basic depowered, well, not depowered, but it's weird looking at characters like Rogue in terms of like their entire arsenal and abilities are based on who they've absorbed.
yeah, yeah,
Real
I fully
quick.
get that.
Pin said gave me $2. Said I'm giving $2 since I'm feeling generous. Thank you, Pin. That's going straight to Salt, but thank you.
Thank you, Tim. That's very nice of you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, Pen in chat did say Rogue needs a good episode, man. Yeah, I would love to cover Rogue, and
Mhm.
because I mean
Uh,
Rogue on her own is pretty strong, but you know.
yeah.
Sherm gave
One
$5
thing I
to
really
try to one up Pin.
thank you, Sherm.
Thank you, Pin. Or Sherm. Oh, technically, thank you, Pin, because Sherm would have given me $5.
That's
Thank
going
you,
right
Sherman
back to,
Pin.
that's going right back to Sherm.
Let's go back to Sherm.
Yeah.
You remember that episode where
Okay.
SpongeBob gives Patrick a quarter to then blow, so Patrick gives SpongeBob back the
Yeah.
quarter to blow bubbles? That's what Sherm just did. Anyway.
The Ashen Devil makes a great point. I think this matchup gives us a great chance to give us a look at the more story-driven side of Archie Sonic rather than the powers side. That's a great point about this matchup. One thing I really would want to stress in a Rogue matchup that I don't think a lot of people are familiar with is Rogue started out as a villain, and she was like that for a good while. She was originally one of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. She was a very aggressive character and insisted on being that way, even towards other mutants like Dazzler at one point, but grew into a more friendly person, especially with the help of Professor X. And I think that would be really nice to discuss how she grew as a character there and found people that were willing to accept her.
Yeah. Oh, Croat's one up in.
Croat's not one upping. I don't pay Croat, so now I feel bad.
now you actually get that money.
Correct. Finally, something for no. YouTube takes 70% of it, or no,
Yeah.
30% of it. Never mind.
I was gonna say.
Just out of curiosity, what is Rabbit's kit? Like, what does Rabbit do? Or what's her name? Sorry,
Bunny Rabbit. You can just call her
Okay.
Bunny.
Bunny. I'm calling her Rabbit.
Yeah.
I'm not even getting names right. What does she do? How does she fight?
It's a lousy. It's a lousy one. So the main thing she does is she can, as the thumbnail shows, is she has rockets in her legs, and her mechanical arm can stretch out and launch across the room. Things similar to how Jonathan uses his arm in JoJo's, just extend it and then recall it. That's the main way she fights.
Okay. And I'm guessing she's also just like naturally acrobatic. It looks like she can kind of fly with jet boots in this picture.
Yes, she can fly with her jet boots. She is pretty acrobatic. It is very much a fisticuffs matchup. That it would focus very much on them flying together and showing off their strength with each other.
And Rogue's ability obviously probably wouldn't work on the metal because I don't think her power works through armor, right? It has to be direct physical contact.
She has been able to absorb Juggernaut's power.
Well, I mean, that's not really armor, is what I mean.
True.
Sorry. It's just a straight robotic body, so I don't know if it would be considered the same thing.
So bunnies are straight up a robotic body. Those metal parts on her arms, those are just straight up metallic parts now, not armor. Like if you remove those from her, they would be gone. You wouldn't be taking armor off her. She would just be missing her arm.
That is really sad.
Yeah.
So,
how in character is it for Rogue too? Because one of her whole things, from my understanding, is like she avoids physical contact and like unless she has to, right? Like how likely is it
varies.
A fight where
it varies how extreme.
And I'm not saying death battle like I'm gonna kiss this bunny on the lips because why not? I just mean in general.
I know. So it varies how intense Rogue's powers work. There are times where they literally say if she touches you once, you will collapse over and die. And then times where just no, she has to be holding on to you directly to do it. So I don't know, but more often than not, she isn't literally going to like tap you once and then all your power is gone and you are dead. That is not how it works.
Yeah, her absorption. Her absorption is really powerful, as you might
Mhm.
imagine. It's the absorption is described as she takes a copy of their psyche, which includes their powers, memory, skills. Contact also KOs the person she touches, and then risks killing them permanently if she is prolonged with the contact.
Mhm.
This like the KO effect is strong enough to knock out people like Thor, and a few minutes of her like touching you and stuff can KO someone for 12 hours.
Pinhead said it's weird that there's a fight with Rogue that she doesn't use her copy ability.
Yeah, that's
As far as I
like,
know, correct me if I'm wrong, can't Rogue only copy things that related to mutant genes, so like they'd have to be similar things to
no,
that?
no, she's copied like Captain America and stuff,
Mhm.
who is not
What
mutant.
what powers can she copy from
Yeah,
Captain America?
Like his strength and stuff.
Oh, okay.
his
Okay,
strength.
never mind then.
Even if you are just a normal being, she can. Even if just normal being, no powers. What happens is her touching you drains your basic energy and
Yeah,
exhausts you.
she's been able, but like outside of mutants, she's been able to absorb Miss Marvel's powers, a Skrull, Corvus, who
Mhm.
gave the guy who works at the Thanos, Kid Gladiator, and Captain Marvel. So it's very much not just limited to mutant stuff.
Mhm.
I think it sounds interesting.
Yeah. There's also the
Sure.
fun connection of Bunny's lover is Antoine, who is a Frenchman, and Rogue's lover is Gambit, who is a Cajun. A lot of people like making that comparison with them.
But what if she was dating Croat Cajun? Anyway. So the next one, we're gonna get back to this because we're
Yeah.
expecting Jobber. I thought he would be here already. Jobber's gonna hop in at some point, so we're gonna come back to this once he comes back. Even though we could talk about this without him because I think all of us know these two characters. But we're gonna skip it for now.
Who are they again?
Hey, okay, this is the one that I'm gonna go a little bit
All right, get
long-winded
comfy. This
on.
is a good one.
Okay, so for those who don't know, this is Senator Armstrong from Metal Gear Solid versus Sentinel Prime from specifically the IDW version of Transformers. The basic idea is that they are arrogant, prideful, patriotic individuals who are corrupted, antagonistic senators of their place of origin, who hold immense physical power due to the power they like, due to the powers that they've obtained with the nanomachines. And Infernus is not a Cybertronian in nature. He is a thing called a Titan Master. Titan Masters are, quote, smaller by Transformer standards. Robots who can hop into like mech suits and pilot. That's what he's in right now. He's in like a mech suit.
So he's a robot that pilots a robot.
Yes.
Interesting.
So I will talk about what I think the most interesting part of this already is their ideology. Armstrong wants to basically create a nation which will perform what's right due to their own ambitions and prevent what's wrong for originally being forced into doing so with the action of control being seen as wrong in the first place. Sentinel wants to create a new world which is led by righteousness of its people and ordering themselves on that standard due to the current system. So there's a really cool ideology that you can have between them. This is just a matchup that allows them both to show off their strength. The issue that I kind of have with other Senator Armstrong matchups is that a lot of Senator Armstrong's really cool shit. Like when he's fighting Raiden and stuff, he's able to drop kick that motherfucker, right? And he's able to punch him really far away. Most characters that Armstrong is placed up against will just die. Will just explode. This guy won't. So in terms of what both are able to do, Senator Armstrong has nanomachines which harden on contact with like physical damage. With this, he is able to regenerate by reattaching lost limbs. He can absorb energy from nearby machinery to power his nanomachines. He is able to create explosions and fissures of fire and shockwaves. And he has his own giant mech, which, you know, look at this matchup, in Metal Gear Excelsus.
I didn't even know he had a mech.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's barely talked about with his matchups. Metal Gear Excelsus is a big-ass mecha machine, which is just very powerful. Excelsius. It can fire plasma cannons, it has blades, and has missiles as well. Sentinel Prime himself has 2 different bodies that he's able to enter over the course of the fight, which are his original body, which comes with wrist and shoulder mounted cannons and extendable energon sword. And then he has his Apex and Alpha Trion armor, which allow him to, like, they have like optic target systems and scanners with cannons, timed explosives. The armor Trion body specifically has large blades. The Alpha Trion body is one of my favorite because it's a mech piloting a mech in a mech. He has a solar energy rifle, which fires at 10,000 Fahrenheit.
Oh my god.
Can create explosions and can pierce through his fellow Cybertronians. He has a spear, and he has a thing called the Spark Disruptor, which kills a Cybertronian, like their spark, without destroying the body. Which I think it'd be really funny in the fight where, because, like, Senator Armstrong and Sentinel Prime aren't really going to recognize what each other are. So when Senator Armstrong jumps into Metal Gear Excelsus, Sentinel Prime might be like, oh, he's like a form of a Titan Master like me, fires the Spark Destructor onto Metal Gear Excelsus, and it just slides downwards. Is that, great.
Do you think it would be cooler for this fight to start with the mechs and end to the mano a mano type shit? Or do you think it would be cooler to do it normal getting into the mechs at the end?
I think normal getting into the mechs is cooler.
Okay. When I say Armstrong, I think of a fight that ends with, like, you know, him like pounding on someone. You know what I mean? That's the only reason.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you could go like the end being the mono and have the climax be the mech fight. You know?
Yeah.
I will also answer a trouble that people might have with this matchup is that due to being a prime, he does get an item called the Matrix of Leadership, which is strong enough to kill Unicron.
Oh my god.
With a blast. Funny thing, Sentinel Prime, throughout all of the time he has this, never uses it for combat purposes. Even when he is, like, fighting to the death with someone, he never pulls that out. He prefers to, like, throw hands and stuff.
So, it's one of those arguments where, like, he could, but why would he? Because he's never shown it before. Okay.
Also, as you might guess, he is a transformer, so he can transform into an armored train with cannons on the top.
That's fucking amazing, though.
And a battle jet. So you can have him transforming as he's, like, fighting the mech and stuff. Or you can have the train slam into Armstrong, who just buckles his grip and, like, flips the train over his head.
Oh, Mug just got here. You missed your matchup get talked about, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah, I just, I really like this idea. It's one of my favorite ones just in general. I think the fight is just amazing where you can have them both equally talking shit to each other while also monologuing, because they're both kind of big monologuers. And I think you get a good hand-to-hand fight. You get a really good mech fight.
Our voice acting budget will go through the fucking roof for this one.
Yes. Oh yes.
Nano machine, son.
Hi, Jobber.
This
Yo, son, I got back from my barber appointment. He's like, damn, son, your head's so fucking big, man. I'm having a hard time cutting it. Yeah, it's a big break.
Welcome, Tito.
It's crazy that you got back with a Tato haircut. That's crazy he gave you that.
I know, right? It's nice seeing you guys. Also, nice to see stuff. It's nice being here. Thank you.
like yeah, this is one of my most wanted ideas for the show in general because I want to explore. I think exploring IDW is just something I want to do for Transformers anyway. Like a specific version where we can look deeply into what IDW has to offer. And I feel this is one of the best ways to do so.
I think it's pretty neat. I know another
This looks cool.
Transformers one you want to do, but that one is also pretty neat. Now that you're back, Jobber.
Yo. Oh, this
can-
one? Oh, yeah. This one's like Denji versus like Yuji Tadori. Chainsaw Man versus Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm pretty sure most people are familiar with this. It's more so like, I consider it like, oh, kind of like a rivalry type of series where both series are main characters are very similar enough. They appeared at similar times. It's kind of like the and versus lose of the, I guess, anime community right now. That Big City says it would, but I personally enjoy this matchup a lot. Like, currently, I love that debate is basically back and forth with Chainsaw Man getting crazier stuff. Like, entire, like, countries or, I'm sorry, not countries, states being used. Like, oh my god, I'm going to use Michigan to attack Chainsaw Man. Yeah, all of Michigan. Like, the power of Michigan. The power of the United States, like, military or shit. Like, damn, this is crazy. And then for, Jujutsu Kaisen, like, I don't know, Yuji's appearing like a old man Solid Snake. He's like, yeah, I got this shit, bro. Like, I've lived for thousands. Okay, he's not thousands of years, but he's lived for a long time, because of, being partly Sukuna, right? And he has like advanced learning because, Sukuna was basically possessed or whatever. So he's gotten really strong, so much so that, like, just with one cleave, he causes a massive fucking explosion where it's like, damn, this is like on the scale of what I see in the new Chainsaw Man shit. Like, that's crazy. Like, I don't know. I love the development between, like, in this matchup, and I mean, the fight dynamic is pretty cool as well. You got, like, I mean, they're just gonna be brawling at each other essentially, like Chainsaw versus like Cursed Energy Fists and like techniques. And originally, maybe it might still be the case, but for this matchup, I think it looks like it might just boil down to whoever is faster. Like, because before all the the Jujutsu Kaisen stuff, I don't know where it's gonna get placed calc-wise. I don't know, but I'm gonna assume that Denji's still way weaker, right? Is that it all comes down to just speed. Whoever's faster. It's like either Denji's gonna just if he hits him, like if he hits Yuji, he's gonna die. But on the other hand, if Yuji just pulls up and he's like domain expansion, Denji's fucked. Like he's like, I don't know, like, because Yuji's like domain expansion is pretty OP, like a sure hit effect that will attack the soul, like it dismantles the soul. Like there's nothing Denji can really do about that. So at the end of the day, it probably most likely comes down to who's faster. I don't know. This match is like really, really cool. That's just my take. What do y'all think?
Jobber came in here and just said, "Let me spoil literally the end of Jujutsu Kaisen for you real quick."
That you know what? That's the real Jujutsu Kaisen fan in you, bro. Like in the Twitter, like you're not like you're not a real Jujutsu Kaisen fan if you haven't spoiled it for someone just yet. They always spoil everything on Twitter.
I am not currently caught up with Chainsaw Man, which is sad because it was my darling series for a while. Does Denji ever get any proper training in terms of combat?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, does he ever get proper? Yeah,
He had his instincts trained and multiple times in the series, but I've never seen him actually learn how to fight other than like wailing. Whereas Yuji is a very trained fighter.
The only time Denji's ever like learned at least a semblance of how to fight is when he was training. When basically him and Power were fighting a man called was it Kishibe, and essentially, he wasn't really teaching them how to fight. He was like, hey, just like I just need y'all to just do something like really cool, basically. Like, at least land one hit him, you get really close, maybe. And so it's like, if you guys don't do that, I'm just gonna keep coming back and killing you over and over again. It's gonna get pretty annoying, painful, right? So eventually, you're just like, okay, Power, we gotta come up with something really smart or something like that. So it's like, I kinda, not really. At least compared to Yuji, like it's just no. I would say absolutely not. Compared to Yuji, Yuji's got way more formal training than anything Denji has, essentially.
Pin says that Denji should be way stronger. I don't know scaling, so I can't say near nor there. But if that's the case, if Yuji is more skilled, and he can probably just like with his domain hit him with so many black flashes that his fucking body dies. Um, Wait, how do you kill Denji?
So basically, like it's not that in his domain. It's not in Yuji's domain that he's hitting you with black flashes. Like so, a domain expansion, right? They're very just OP. They're basically just I win buttons where it's like, oh, if you get hit with this ability, not only is it a huge radius, but any attack from this domain is a sure hit. It's instantaneous. It just appears on you. It doesn't exist in just. It doesn't exist at all until it appears on you, right? It doesn't travel at all. And when he hits Sukuna with this domain, right? He also gained like also Sukuna's ability of dismantle, and he just basically imagine the attack is dismantled, but it's being targeted towards the person's soul, right? And you can't dodge it. It just appears on you. Essentially, you're basically fucked. Essentially, if you're in a domain expansion, um, and that's kind of just with like Denji, right? Where it's like, well, you can't really do anything to get out of that situation. Essentially, but it only gets to that point if Yuji is like faster, essentially. That's why like probably most likely boils down to speed. Like whoever if Denji can, land a hit on Yuji before he even does this, or if Yuji could just pop the domain expansion before like, you know, Denji could even like one shot him, right? Um that is kind of the gist. And basically, Denji, he can come back from a lot of physical damage, essentially, and like with regeneration. But attacks to the soul, he is not really. He hasn't shown any resistance to, or he could come back from, essentially. Especially if, like, for example, how Denji and Pochita are connected, right? Um, I guess physically connected, but if you want to make the argument of like, I don't know, verse utilization or something, that they're connected soul wise, right? Not only is Yuji like for example, when Yuji's fighting, let's say Denji in scenario outside of domain expansion, every time Denji like punches him, essentially, he can like apply dismantle, and he can basically attack the connection between Denji and Pochita via their souls, right? So he basically each punch slowly is separating Denji from Pochita, essentially.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, just like how, because that's what Denji used against like Sukuna when Sukuna was like taking over Megumi Fraud's body, right? He was like, I'm just gonna use these 10 shadows. Like you just like, bro, I'm gonna literally beat Megumi out of you. Okay. I'm gonna keep punching you, and I'm gonna sever the connection between you and Megumi. And that's basically what happened at the end, right? Um so yeah, this is a very interesting debate, I will say.
It's very loved for a reason. I'm surprised we got Gojo versus Makima first, but this one's cool. They're probably gonna do it this year, if I'm being honest. But I like it. I like it.
Yeah, really awesome.
But why isn't he fighting Devil Man? Get out of here. I fucked up. All right, Paul. He's gone. Oh, there he is.
Just a second. Let me pull it up. For the citizens living in the small United States town of Mifflinburg, the apocalypse has arrived as foreign spaceships have landed and a strange army of alien creatures are laying waste to their homes. For agents J and K, it's just another Tuesday morning in Pennsylvania, 1957. These MIB agents have been sent through time to deal with a life-threatening hostile invasion by the Martian Empire that could result in the death of Agent K's father's uncle's sister's former roommate, threatening our present-day reality circa 2027 AD. Failure against this scum of the universe could bring total destruction to the past, present, and the future of MIB. This matchup is awesome. It doesn't give enough talk.
So somebody immediately said, "Are these two even from comics?"
Men in Black started as a comic series. Very few people know that. The movie is an adaptation of the original comics.
All right. What is
And then
what
Mars
is
Attacks, of course,
the
started as the
the
trading card series.
it did?
Yes, was a very popular Topps trading card series that involved all the gore and experiments and insane stuff, and was a send up to 1950s alien movies and that culture. And then it became a very popular franchise that culminated in the well-known movie. And they have a lot of comics, but that wasn't their beginning.
That's very interesting. What's the
Mhm.
dynamic like? What can they do?
So the dynamic is it is basically, as I said, it is literally just another Tuesday for both of them. Men in Black have been dispatched to deal with a Martian invasion, and this really lets you just dig into all the crazy weapons they have. And just like we, of course, have classics like the noisy crickets, but we have like a sonic gun. We have the Martians the instant atomization guns that turn you into flaming red and green skeletons. A lot of the things that people don't know is that the Martians do not just simply kill people for the hell of it. That was more just in the movie. They love experimenting on humans and keeping you alive while doing it. There is one comic where they have captured someone and keep attaching their body to different alien monsters to fight in a gladiator arena. And then when that person dies, they just bring them back to life to do it again and keep putting them through that. They love just experimenting on people for as long as they can. I think it really allows us to explore more a Martians episode that goes into what they do instead of just throwing out waves and waves of the same ones shooting their guns until the big guy shows up in a saucer and just shoots more stuff. It's a really fun dynamic. While yes, the Martians without the translator don't have banter, J and K are all the banter you need because of how well they work off each other and having to deal with an army of hostile Martians like this who just keep coming at them. I think it just has a really great dynamic to it and has more direct personality and much more of a story to it than something like Martians versus Clowns, which goes more for the B movie aesthetic of an army versus an army of monsters from outer space.
Would it be the entirety of the Men in Black or just those two right there?
Just J and K because they have the most direct footage. We have them in the movies. I don't remember if they were established characters in the original comic or not. I could look that up. And they, of course, had the cartoon series in the 90s, which was a really great series. So I would primarily focus on them for this.
Croat said, glad to hear about human experimentation as I'm eating Little Debbie's.
Oh, I can get so much more graphic. The Mars Attacks cards are very morbid.
Get into it. He's eating Little Debbie's. It's the prime time.
Well, they're not just more. It's like, and then like, of course, Big Shark they made toys about it. So you get toys like literally see the glowing rib cage of a human being shot at by a gun. The toy is literally just a green pink rib cage of his skin getting melted off. You have things like the burning hordes of cows that are running by. Obviously in the movies, the guns instantly turn people into flaming red and green, burning up skeletons. The experimentation gets far more graphic in the cards and the comic books than it did in the movie. It's just really wild stuff. They really would go all out with it on the Martians angle. But the insanity of Men in Black that could sometimes get gory, not overly so, but definitely got into very alien, odd concepts, would fit very well into their series. It's one where I'm like, how is this never an actual crossover at this point? Especially because the Martians have comic books. They have a comic book crossover with the Ghostbusters of all things. But it's one that would be extremely fun to do on Nebula Theater and tell more of a story with.
I like it. Does anyone else have thoughts?
I like Mars Attacks. I actually find enough evidence. I haven't seen the Men in Black movies, which I feel like is a very odd blind spot for me.
That is weird. It seems like it'd be up your alley.
Yeah, it seems
First
like
one's good. First one's good. Second one's a waste of time. Third one was very good. We don't talk about the fourth one.
What fourth one?
Yeah, I like. No, you and your fourth one's Plime. I like. I like this. I am just a big. Like, this is a cool matchup. I am a big fucking Clowns versus Martian fan. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is amazing, but this is a cool alt. I think this is a cool, like, if we were looking to do something more based in like a scenario rather than like an actual versus thing, then yeah, I don't think this makes sense.
I think
Um,
it's
I
interesting.
think I think for this matchup, you know what? I love myself some scenario-based matchups, and this is definitely a scenario-based matchup that well fits both pretty well, especially Men in Black. 'Cause, like this is essentially what they would go out to do, right? Yeah, this one gets a thumbs up from me. I like this. This makes
Some
sense.
some would say this is exactly what the Men in Black guys do every day.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's what both
jo-
of them do every day. That's my favorite part. And I specifically
Job.
said 1957 because I said 1957 because most of the Mars Attack stuff, especially the original cards, are set in the 1950s. And the third film introduced time travel for Men in Black. So it makes more sense for them to be going back in time to dealing with a Martian invasion instead of one randomly happening in the modern day. I think that makes more sense for both series.
Jobber loves scenario matchups so much that a couple months ago he was like, "Listen, what if we did Raccoon City, or what if Frank West was dropped in the middle of Raccoon City? Would he survive?" I was just like, "What?"
It would.
Like there's just like so much untapped potential with like scenario-based maps. But low-key underrated. Like that's a good question. Like, huh? Like that's a pretty good versus. Just like a guy versus a whole city. It's like that movie Escape from New York with Snake Plissken or something. But I don't know. It's very
Interesting.
cool.
I think it's
And
funny.
I'll clarify before we move on because people misunderstood. I brought up Clowns Martians to compare what each does. I don't think it's a bad matchup. It accomplishes different things with Mars attacks, I think. One leans
Yeah.
more into them as creatures and B movie plots. The other leans more into them as sci-fi menaces with a lot of random alien equipment. They
I'm not
accomplish different things. They're
I'm not
not
gonna
bad.
let
It's not a bad matchup.
I'm not gonna let anyone talk shit about Clowns Martians here.
Clowns
No,
Martians sucks.
I was not criticizing it. I was
I
comparing the
was
two because I felt it was wild for this.
I was mutuals with the composer of Killer Clowns from Outer Space for like a good few years on Instagram.
Very nice.
All right, Jobber. Now talk about how you betrayed me.
So here's how I betrayed. Okay, this is how I betrayed is the plan. I was like, so I was on a cliff and he was like, Jobber, I really like this Banjo Kazooie matchup. And I'm like, I like another one. And he was like, no! And I dropped him and like he just fell into the sea of all the Banjo Kazooie matches. Like, no! 7 next, baby, let's go. But yeah, that's
Not
really how it went.
ukulele.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like yeah, I like this this is my personal favorite like Banjo Kazooie matchup. I love myself some good old Sam and Max. I think the connections are well, they're relatively pretty straightforward. There's nothing too crazy deep about it, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like the aesthetics of both their series just match incredibly well with each other, especially the goofy aspects of Banjo Kazooie, their cheats and all that type of stuff, like coming into factor in this battle where the freelance the freelance police or detectives or whatever, they just come in and like, yo, Banjo Kazooie, we heard from this like old green lady that you were disrupting the peace. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about? Are you working with Gruntilda? And they just get into a fight all over that like stuff, right? Like a very goofy fight. I don't know. This this was just really fun for me personally. But yeah, like what do y'all think about this?
I want to know because I was talking about this beforehand, before I was setting everything up, what the dynamic is like because it's hard for me to look at Sam and Max with like fucking handguns and revolvers in their hands and wondering how Banjo would survive getting shot in the head without using like a Wonder Wing or something like that. So I just want to know kind of like what their arsenals are and how Banjo would kind of match it, other than
Well,
just using like Gun Kazooie, which shoots eggs and stuff like that.
yeah, like I mean, like for the what was it? Like an idea I have like written down for at least how like the dynamic would work is essentially Stam and Max are a lot more cartoony compared to Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie do have like a lot of cartoon things about them. Like I've seen in the games and stuff. Like imagine like for example, Kazooie would blink and then just all of a sudden Sam and Max are in a tank and they just shoot at them. It's just like all this other type of stuff, right? Where they get into a gunfight where they're basically shooting at each other. Well, Sam and Max are like they're all missing each other, but Banjo Kazooie are the ones that land their attacks, right? Like the frost eggs, electric eggs, right? And you know, I don't think like the guns being pointed at them. It's so surreal to see like these cartoon guns being pointed at Banjo Kazooie. I feel like it's worth it because it's like that's funny as hell. I was like, what the a gun? What? It's like even Banjo's like, whoa, this is like, what's the rating of this game again? Like I don't know. I think that I liked a little bit of the contrast there. It's like, oh well, it's kind of a funny cartoony contrast. Like, oh well, okay, but you know, Sam and Max, they don't just fight with their guns. They fight with a numerous amount of cartoony, wacky, like shenanigans. Their fists, like costumes, tanks, other vehicles, like their car, for example. Um, they do a lot of crazy things. Even like I think what was it? I think Max can use like voodoo or some shit. Like so, I think it was one of the games. He can use some voodoo spells or something, and all that type of jazz. But I don't know. I I think the fight would also kind of be on the move where I don't know when they're fighting each other. There could be a scenario where maybe they teleport. Literally, they fight across time. They teleport into just different scenarios, like just like in the Sam and Max opening, where you just see Sam and Max in different scenarios. Like oh shit, like random shit like's happening. Right? Let's say like for example. Like, how did Sam and Max even get to Banjo Kazooie's, I guess, world, right? Well, it's the Sam and Max reveal through their, long explanations, like, oh yeah, like the Banjo Kazooie world is basically just it's just like basically it's they exist in the same world. It's just back in time. Like I don't know, some dinosaur ages, some stuff like that, right? It's like, oh yeah, that's how we got here through our time machine, but now it's fucked up because of this fight and they teleport through time, all these different scenarios. All of a sudden, like, you see one scenario where it's like, I don't know, Kazooie in like Max are being like, I don't know, grabbed by this like monster and like Banjo and like, Sam are fighting it off and then like teleport to more scenarios. Like maybe the poker night, they're playing poker for some reason, which also what was it? Banjo Kazooie have also played poker as well, and I think it was Tui. But it could be a fun reference there. And then like maybe there's a whole wedding scene where it's like I think it's let's say Banjo Kazooie are getting married, and it's like the guy's like, yo, if anyone has anything to say, forever hold your peace. And like Max is like, wait, Kazooie, you can't marry because I love you. And then like what was it? Sam's like, but Max, you don't like. And then because the joke is Max doesn't like girls. That's the whole. They keep saying it's the whole joke they keep saying repeating throughout the whole Sam Max games. Like, oh, Max, you don't like girls, and he just keeps going, right? Until the final like I guess clash takes place in literally the was it the Sam Max time stream where they both like essentially unleash their ultimate attacks to each other. Where it's like Sam and Max. Well, what is their ultimate attack? We're just gonna fucking run them over. Yeah, this is gonna be a Johnny Cage versus Captain Falcon type everything. Like, let's run them over. Fuck it, right? But Banjo Kazooie, their ultimate like I guess attack is essentially they're gonna use their invincibility. The invincibility feathers, right? Put it in front of them, right? And they just charge at the car, right? For invincibility. And they have this clash, right? And regardless of who you think wins, like maybe like basically there's a tension building up where it's like, okay, you see the flower or not flowers, so you see the feathers running out of their invincibility for Banjo Kazooie slowly, but you also see cracks forming in the car of Sam Max as Max is getting a little worried. He's like, yo, I think are we really gonna lose? Holy shit, this is crazy. You never know.
Chopper.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I don't know, man. It's a lot.
So Chopper wrote the fight already, and now he's telling you about it.
Yeah, he's reading off his fight script.
Bro, I was like, I was waiting for you to take a breath. I was like,
I don't even know what I learned there. I feel like that was just word salad. I feel like I know about the same amount of this matchup. I just got read a fight script to me.
Yes.
Like,
real quick.
Like,
so
I
just want a quick like Jobber without like telling me the whole fight script. What can they do? Like just give me a rundown. You don't need to tell me how those specific
He
things.
just did a rundown off the highway.
Like for example,
said
like
when y'all drop in the episode.
Yeah, like they got like Sam Max, they got flamethrowers, they got like sci-fi lasers. This attack is called surprise, where like imagine this, let's say like I don't know, Banjo Kazooie just like talking like, oh dang, like I wonder where like Sam Max, like they see their flaming car, like dang, I wonder where they went, and then all of a sudden Sam Max appear from the left part of the screen, they just appear out of nowhere. Sam was it Max is he's wheeling at a cake, a big ass cake, and then they just yell surprise, and they're like I don't know, for some reason Sam appears from the top of the cake dressed in a genie costume as he jumps down, and then he kicks them all the way up to the ceiling. I don't know why he does this, but it happens in the series. I'm telling you, this is legit. Like I know it sounds crazy, but legitimately, this is like they just it's a bunch of random. It's like it's the Sam Max's whole arsenal is literally the Moon Knight meme, where it's a bunch of random shit go. You know.
So the surprise. I'm confused because I feel like I got lost in your sentence, Jobber. You started explaining the script again. Like I'm very.
No, I swear it's not the script. I swear to God, that is legitimately a Sam Max attack. I wish I'm on my phone right now, but I wish I could pull up the GIF. Like it's literally it happens in the cartoon. Like that is literally a Sam Max attack. I'm not like when I say like their arsenal is literally just random bullshit go. I swear, I'm not joking. It's literally random bullshit go. Like it's.
I thought Rohan sounded
Alright.
complicated.
So
Before we move on, Pin sent $10 to one up everyone else again, and he says, "Sam Max, my beloved. Also, Jobber, do you have a scenario matchup for GLaDOS/Portal? Also, this matchup is Peak and BFB, which I don't know what it means, but I'm assuming it means being fucking
That's
boring, which is
bestable.
kind of rude.
No, it's best. PFP is bestable.
I mean,
Okay.
all right. Well, I mean, like, I feel like I don't want to spend too much time on this batch because then we gotta get to our other ones. But I will answer the question of the GLaDOS. Do I have a scenario match for GLaDOS? Well, I don't particularly have one for GLaDOS, but I have heard of a matchup for GLaDOS that involves a Fallout character or machine. I think.
If you're gonna say House,
I don't think it's Mr. House. I think it's something else. It's not Mr. House. I know that for a fact. I think it's someone else. The best man. I don't think it is. I'll have to ask one of the people that brought it up to me, and like, he was like, "What was it again?" I'll make sure to bring it to you later. But I know I've seen a GLaDOS matchup that looked kind of interesting. I didn't think too much about it. I'm sorry I couldn't give a better answer for my memory.
It's okay. I will also say, even if Sam and Max have a car, Banjo and Kazooie have a little pole thing that he has in nuts and bolts, which can literally take apart cars. So just negs that fucking advantage right there.
Jobber, I'd only support this if we could have Log from Nuts and Bolts interact with the brain. We'd need that scene in there.
Oh, this is.
I don't know. Oh, that yeah. Ooh.
Now it is Saul's turn again.
Yeah.
Magic versus Karlach, my beloved Karlach.
Yeah, so this is Magic from Marvel versus Karlach from Baldur's Gate. The basic idea is kind of, I guess, like people who used to be ordinary young individuals who were taken away and taken advantage of by demonic figures who are a little bit quirky nowadays. I'm just looking at the pin popping off in the chat. Karlach Magic being mentioned. So I'll start with Karlach because I imagine she's probably the more unknown. I don't know at this point, but Karlach in her base class is a barbarian. Who, barbarians. So this is using BG3 instead of So they get stuff like extra attacks, reckless things, fast movements. Her main weapon is her battle axe, and she can enter a rage, which is like a bonus action thing, which does a lot, but basically allows them to be tanks just as much as they want to.
Is Karlach not connected to the overall universe of Dungeons, or is it? Would we just be using the Baldur's Gate version of her character and leaving it at that?
I think they're starting to. I know Astarion got like a book recently that like puts more into the D&D stuff, so you can go more down the actual D&D route, But Karlach has a couple of things like dark vision, which allows her to see in the dark, hellish resistance, which makes her immune to fire. Magic has a really big sword for those who have played Marvel Rivals. She has a lot of abilities, including like reflecting attacks. She's really good martial artist. She can teleport using mutant stepping discs. She can summon beasts. Manipulate energy. I got a bit of heartburn going on. Go invisible. Potentially use BFR stuff, manipulate fire, which, wouldn't work here. Create a portal to a realm full of vampires, which I think would be really funny to happen mid-fight. You like Karlach, don't you, Prime? Oh, has he ran off?
Time.
Give me 1 sec. Keep talking.
Okay, I guess I'm going to have to keep down with this one. I did submit this, so that makes sense. Yeah, I just think that this is a cool... You have the strength versus speed dynamic of the main battle between... You have Magic, who's able to, like, teleport and speed around, while Karlach is a lot more of, like, just based in strength. So you have, like, strength versus speed is always a dynamic I really like. Sword versus axe, you can use their magical abilities. I really like the different personalities between them, where Magic is more of, like, she's got more, like, humor, like sardonic humor, while Karlach is just a little bit silly. You can make this really friendly. This is one I would not want to end in death. I also think this is a really close debate, funny enough, because D&D and Baldur's Gate scale very, very similarly to Marvel. And just being able to match people like Raphael would put Karlach on the Herald tiers that Magic would scale to.
I apologize for leaving. My partner came home and the front door is right there. And so when she got here, I shut off my camera, muted the mic just so it's not awkward. I love Karlach. She's my favorite Baldur's Gate 3 character. Currently romancing her in the game.
I'm also currently romancing her in the game.
She is hot.
Literally.
As soon as I put that engine in her dog, I was like, let's go. Let's go.
What do you mean by engine in her?
Where you put the thing that regulates her heat.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Yeah.
I know. I was only
Is she like a fan favorite character? I don't actually know what people actually
people
like.
love her. People love her.
I know people really like Astarion.
Oh yeah, she's also a I believe because BG3 characters are weird in terms of you can respec them as much as you want. Using Rivers, but we would probably just stick to her normal barbarian self, which means she would be a wild heart one. Which, depending on what version we would want to go through with the fight, like, there's a lot of cool things you can do,
Yeah. She could go
like,
giant. She has a rage mode. Like,
yeah.
The items in Baldur's Gate give her a lot of... Well, I don't know how you'd want to factor in items.
Items as well, I would... like, items we would use, but
It's
I think
funny.
they would be the main selling point, right?
It's funny that she's wielding an axe in this picture, because every time I think of her with that flame sword. Because you can cheap that sword out of someone very early in the game, like in the first conflict, you can do some trickery to knock that sword out of his one of the, what do they call it? The people who are putting the things in your brain.
Oh yeah, the Illithids.
Illithids, yeah. He has one of the swords in the very beginning of the game, and you can knock it out of his hand and take it, and then give it to Karlach immediately, and it makes her pretty busted.
What do we composite barbarians for Karlach? We would probably look into the other D&D barbarian stuff, yeah. Again, with the new D&D book, that kind of is putting the BG3 people into mainline D&D. I mean, they already scaled to mainline D&D with characters like fucking Elminster appearing. Who's just there and he's like, hey y'all, I'm motherfucking Elminster. And having mentions of other characters. I think the debate on this one is really interesting. I don't know who wins.
I think this is one on the team, like on our team, that's like pretty like in discussion a lot. I think it's very interesting, and I think a lot of us like it. Sherm said that his Karlach has died about half a dozen times, which is unacceptable.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. Karlach, in my first ever playthrough of BG3, Karlach was my main fucking tank, and she dominated against most people apart from Gortash. She kind of struggled against Gortash.
I think we all like it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I like this matchup. You're like, yeah, I feel like it both says I at least haven't. I don't because when it comes to like Dungeons and Dragons, Baldur's Gate. I mean, I guess this week I might dibble dabble a little bit into Baldur's Gate because like some friends I were like really want me to get into and play it. I'm like, oh, all right, I guess we'll give it a try. So learn more about it. But like Magic, I kind of have a general idea of the character. I think if people bring her up and I'm like, oh, this is her face or something like, oh, she seems like a pretty cool X-Men character, I suppose. But
Yeah, I
like,
think the semantics here make a lot of sense. I know Magic is a character that people want to do on the team.
I know nothing about it. I just saw
Seems
Karlach
like
and went, yeah.
yeah, I think Magic seems like a pretty underrated like X-Men character to use in a versus match. I'd like to learn more about the character. It seems like a really cool character. Plus, also Dungeons and Dragons or slash Baldur's Gate being in more verses does make me a little bit more happy because I think at least seems Dungeons and Dragons slash Baldur's Gate like it seems pretty fascinating to put into a versus scenario. You know.
We also, it is quite impossible for us to write Magic worse than the normal Marvel writers write it, and unfortunately, they are putting Magic through the ringer like really badly.
And on that note, Lizard Man versus Man Bat. I believe this was Paul who chose
It's just
this one?
Lizard.
Oh, you're right. Lizard versus Man Bat. My bad.
I'll have you know that this is Dr. Kurt Connors versus Dr. Kirk Langstrom. Thank you very much.
Real quick, Pin just said, "Don't read Magic comics." How would we do an episode if we can't read her comics?
We know.
It's here to suffer for your art.
We just ignore the recent ones. Just
Never mind all that. Anyway,
so what,
this is one of my favorite Marvel versus DC ever. Just straight up. I think this is the best connection for the two of them as characters. It's obviously a classic Spider-Bat, but beyond that, what I like so much about this one is the same thing that I felt Hulk versus Godzilla did so well, the men behind the monsters. Kurt and Kirk are very good people, legitimately. They became these animals through a desire to do good and help others, and it ended up becoming a classic story of scientific tragedy that they continue to try and fight through. Kirk did it because he was a veteran who lost his arm and wanted to figure out a way to regenerate it using lizard cells. And then Kirk did so because he aspired to be a hero like the person he looked up to, Batman. And they ended up losing control of it in their experiments on themselves, turning into these bestial supervillains that we know today, who technically are not as villainous as one would expect. I really like the idea of these two meeting each other, and Kirk being the one not instigating the fight, but more encouraging Connors to not be afraid. He would be far more interested in meeting the lizard and seeing if he could help him calm down, get in more in control with his animal side. Whereas Connors is very much more afraid of his alternate form and constantly trying to figure out ways to suppress it entirely or keep it in control. I feel like it just adds such a great dramatic layer to it that adds a lot to it. As for the fights, I understand a lot of people look at it and think one flies, one isn't. That's going to be a major issue. The lizard fights Spider-Man, a guy who constantly swings around buildings. He is far more dexterous than you would expect. And he has done things like scale up buildings, swing around things, especially in stuff like we see in Amazing Spider-Man 1. They work off each other much better than people would expect if Kirk just grabbed him and tried to start flying with him. And then to make the most obvious point in the world, what if we made Beast versus Goliath but made it actually good?
Ooh, throw in shade at a video
Ooh.
that's like what 10 years old at this point.
Yep.
It's
No, I just
interesting.
think it has
So,
some. I think it
are
just has some great beats to it.
do
I
how
like
do
this.
what do they do like anything like notable, or are they very like straightforward? They're gonna just kind of like do they still have brains and like stuff, or are they ferocious
Yes.
monsters?
Yeah,
Yes.
they both, especially in more recent Man-Bat comics, he's displayed a lot more intelligence. I remember I was reading something for Mysterious Scarecrow where Man-Bat was like fully sentient. But
So actually,
Lizard is
yeah,
more
I made
consistent.
these. I made versus Elias, but actually a better comparison would be Saberwolf versus John Talbane. Both of these two constantly try to keep in control of their minds and not completely lose control into a raging monster. Kirk especially, it was that for a while he had full control over his transformation. He didn't mind it, but if he went too long without his antidote, it started making him go more crazy. So I think it would very much be the fight starts out with them more sentient and trying to get a feel for each other, but especially in the lizard's case, becoming more directly angry and animalistic and trying to fight back against it until they just embrace it and are just turning into snarling monsters. There's also the interesting points of their main attacks are, of course, clawing each other and tearing each other apart. Man-Bat has some good sonar powers, especially with his hearing. He can sometimes summon bats to his aid. Lizard consistently has control over smaller reptiles, even to the point of once controlling a small army of albino crocodiles that were living in the New York sewers, because of course. So you can have kind of a mini army fight of just them controlling their animal ancestors. I think there's just a lot of really interesting takes to it. And as for the death, could this end in a death? Yes. What I would prefer, and people would be mixed on this, is the winner. It's ambiguous if they killed the other or not. And they carefully pick up their body, which is obviously torn apart. These two would be absolutely brutalizing each other and vowing that whatever happens, they will do their best to make things right. I think a very more bittersweet, but how a scientist would react to a failed experiment would end it much better than if one just tore the other's head off and that's the end of it.
Dude, he's dissing the ending of Car X right now. Oh my god.
Dang. Dang.
I was more saying
I'm
I don't want this
kidding.
to end like I don't want this to end like Sabretooth versus John Talbane. That would feel really awkward for these two.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
but it's like it's also the most easiest setup in the world. Dr. Kirk comes in and tells Dr. Connors about how much he's heard about him and that Bruce Wayne personally recommended him and just all that. And you just have it be the most easiest shared universe thing in the world. Kirk is meeting Dr. Connors or vice versa and wants to work with him. He fully knows about each other. Kirk's identity, it's fully public. Like virtually everyone knows Kurt is the Lizard. It was very publicized from his first appearance, and he still has a family he tries to stay with. And it has led to some interesting stories there, both good and disturbingly morbid. There's one in the comics that I won't bring up here, but like these two wouldn't have heard of each other. I think there's just a really cool dynamic to be made with it.
I think one of my favorite details about Lizard is that he passively has like an aura around him that activates people's R complexes in their brain. Like Spider-Man describes it as like an aura around Lizard that makes the id take over the super ego in the brain. Which weirdly just passively makes people more animalistic in nature, which some people actually like.
Yeah. I also have a cool moment. If you want to have a flying sequence, I would totally have like Man-Bat really fighting with trying to even keep hold of Lizard, and so Lizard finally just releases his tail and it falls off to get Man-Bat to let go of him, and then he just screams and throws the tail away because he can regrow his tail entirely. So that'd be a great moment.
I really wonder what our first Marvel versus DC fight would be, because the ones that either on public server or our work server that you guys have pushed all sound really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one included sounds really fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool ones.
Just think it's got a lot of potential, and I really enjoy discussing it. They're fun characters who I'd love to get some attention. And yes, this is one of the times I will diss a matchup. This is so much better than Lizard versus Killer Croc. I cannot stand that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
as someone who knows Batman a little more, I kind of get it why that one doesn't sound as good. Killer Croc thematically is not the same.
Hmm.
This is you,
there you
Jobber.
go. This is B. Okay, so I mean, well, this is Skips versus like, the Immortal. I don't particularly remember the exact connections between the two for this matchup, but well, other than obviously they're both immortal. Okay, that's clear. They're both immortal, very strong. I guess Wise put an asterisk next to Wise for immortal himself, but I mean, yeah, I particularly like this matchup. It feels like this matchup feels like something that would actually just happen in regular show. That's the kind of matchup. Is like, you know what? Yeah, I imagine Pops and Immortal would like throw hands or something. You could bring out the fists of justice or something, and maybe Pops could like deliver like the one liner that like Mordecai Rigby delivered, right? Like Pops, like what are you gonna do? He's like I'm gonna cross this shore off the list as he goes to use his fist of justice against like Immortal. I don't know. It could be really fun, you know. Mortal stands no chance. Like it's pretty bad. He gets obliterated here, but I do like the fight. I do like the fight, and also just covering skips. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess analysis wise, probably lopsided, but yeah, I feel like covering skips is probably the most interesting part of this idea because analysis, like what Tiff's been through. I guess like everything that he's seen before. I guess maybe that could be a whole category for himself. Yeah, that's a specific analysis skips category. Like he's seen this before. That's the category name. Um, yeah, I think it's a really cool fight. That's pretty much the
Dude,
gist. What do you think?
dude, the
Um,
immortal, the immortal fucking sucks. I think I would hate to analyze this guy. He is like. I feel like this matchup is very much just kind of like people want skips on the show, so they go, "Oh fuck it, put immortal in," because man, the immortal is such an unappealing character.
Yep, I'm not even gonna fight that. Like, nah, I'm not fighting that at all.
I, I like even from like an analysis standpoint, the immortal doesn't even have much to talk about. I don't know. This matchup feels very skips favored, and I would rather do one where we could balance it instead. Especially if we're gonna do Invincible, I don't like fucking immortal of all characters.
so,
Yeah,
as far as I remember, Immortal isn't immortal in the traditional sense, right? Like, if you kill him, he is dead, but
Yeah.
he has powers that he can come back. So technically, if Skips just like fucking ripped his head off? I know it's probably out of character. Skips just rips his head off. The fight's over, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, the fight would depend.
they would have to do a ritual to bring him back, and that's not happening. So
yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think like probably the most likely scenario where like how Skips went. Well, obviously not ripping his head off, but more likely, I think Skips is literally just going to punch Immortal so hard with the fist of justice that he just he just sends him flying into the sun. Yeah, that's it. He just dies in the sun. Like that's my shouts for that. Like, yeah, I think that's probably how it's most likely gonna end. Just punches him into the sun, incinerates him.
sorry. Hold on. Say hi to Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
She keeps clawing at my feet.
to be fair, does Immortal have less to work with than any Viltrumite? Yeah, because Immortal basically has like no story. And compared to Viltrumites, where they're actually most of them are good characters to cover and have interesting stories, Immortal's like, yeah, he's a bum, and then he dies, and he comes back, and then he dates someone who's like a lot younger than him, and then he's a bum, and then he's a bum again, and then he's a bum against
Yep.
Robot, and then he's a bum for the rest of the series. Instead of Skips, where it's like, look at Skips' tragic story, he's so fucking cool, look at these fists of justice. Like, I feel like there's a contrast.
Could you imagine if Immortal was the first Invincible character we covered, bro?
I'd walk.
That'd be funny. That'd be funny.
I'd fucking walk.
Like, man, how is World here? What is this?
Out of every fucking Invincible character that's been talked about.
And
Just-
he's my favorite.
Immortal comes back to life after Skips kills him. Like that could be a funny gag, right? Where more like Skips, like he kind of just. How about what if it just immediately starts off with like the beginning of the fight? Skips already killed him. Like he, for some reason, like his Immortal's head got lopped off, but it's in like regular show fashion, so there's like no blood. It's like very cartoony, right? And then like
Can
later
we
on, like yeah,
can we have? It's really funny to me. I know we don't want a graphic death or anything, but if the Immortal obviously loses, it's really bad. When he dies, can it end like a fucking classic regular show explosion?
yeah, like
you know how the explosion, you know how all the regular show villains just for some reason fucking blow up.
yeah, like yeah, yeah. That's the aspect I mean. Like for like how Immortal, at least when he's regular showified in this fight, right? Like for example, like the sun example where he skips punches him to the sun, like that could be the explosion, the regular show explosion. It's like, oh, like okay, well that's cool. And then just like but the beginning of the fight, Skips immediately kills him, but it's in regular show fashion where like there's no blood, just like because I think we've seen the regular show right where Mordecai gets his head chopped off, but there's no blood or anything like that, right?
Oh yeah,
I'm
the
not following
horror.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like maybe Mordecai and Rigby like later on after Skips like walks away like, boo, dude, and they just put like Mortal's head back on his body, and all of a sudden Mortal's back alive for some fucking reason. He's like, "Where's Skips? Where's Skips?" Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. That could be
Yeah.
pretty funny, you know?
Alright, we will
Oh,
move
man.
forward.
You know.
Makima versus Manchester
Black.
Yes.
So
So I'll do your thing.
I would say, funny enough, this isn't actually the only Makima matchup we're going to be talking about today, so you're actually going to get two really cool ones. Makima, everybody knows her, everybody loves her. But who is her? Well, not everybody, but most people enjoy her as an antagonist, and some people find her attractive.
Fucking freaks.
So, Manchester Black, you will probably know him from Superman vs. the Elite, which is a really famous Superman comic and a pretty okay animated movie that adapts it. The idea of these two are that their leaders are powerful and influential groups within their setting and seek to protect the public from supernatural forces of evil surrounding their society, with their goals being in the greater kind of interest of humanity, in quotes, in a kind of messed up, fucked up way. How they're like their ideal world that they want to forge is very messed up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Makima's world is described by like the president as being like the worst possible piece, while Superman has explained that Black's worldview lacks any concept of human rights and is driven by spite and anger. So, this is very cool in my opinion, because there's a lot of what you're able to do in terms of a fight and interactions. You can kind of have them get into their ideologies and their perfect world, because I imagine as a fight, this would be like a crossover, you know? Like, I imagine there would be the other elite members and the people who work under Makima would be like going out to deal with like a devil, while Manchester pulls up on Makima and's like, you know, oh, we're doing our own thing, like, stay out of our way. And obviously Makima's not going to take that sitting down, right?
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Manchester Black is a telepath. All of his abilities are psychic based, and he can do a ton of different things. I actually has read all of his his media. So this is actually a character who I know very extensively about. He has your basic stuff like being able to mind control. He can create telekinetic force fields. He can throw people around with telekinesis. He can create illusions, control minds. Funny enough, he can do, you know how Makima has her bang?
Mm-hmm.
He does a single thing with his psionic blasts. Where he points his finger and just does like a psionic, like, boom through them. He's able to upload his consciousness into other individuals, transfer the minds of people, and can possess people. He once possessed a cow. Like at the end of the comic where it's like he seems he's dead, you see a cow with a cigarette and like a guy with a lighter lighted up the cigarette on the cow.
What the fuck? So even if he dies, can he like immediately transfer his consciousness?
Yes.
Okay.
He has been killed multiple times. He was killed by Lex Luthor and stuff.
What's stopping him from just putting his mind in Makima's body?
Nothing really, but then it would like it's like a transfer, right? So she would be in his and have his powers.
Oh.
But he did it to Superman and Bizarro. And they kind of struggled because they have similar powers but different. It's weird. So I like this as kind of a one-man army fight where Makima can use her different devils and stuff. She has a bunch from like the flamethrower ones, the angels, and you can have Manchester slowly kind of come back from a stomping dynamic of like, oh, this fire one, I'm going to blow it in half. Oh, these group of like knives and swords ones, I'm going to create a barrier against them. Oh, the angel devil, I'm going to take over his mind and make him fight Makima, you know? And due to Makima's contract, there's a lot of creative ways you can have kills during this battle. Like just smushing Makima and having it be transferred to someone else. Doesn't go into Makima's deeper character. I would argue it does. With Manchester's story and stuff. Again, I am very simplifying the thematics of this one because there is a bucket list of them.
Yeah. On the other end of transferring consciousnesses, what is stopping Makima from just saying you're less than me? And
he has resisted mind manipulation from Martian Manhunter.
All right, yep, she's not getting past that.
and when Raven breached his mind, she fainted because of it. Because it was so like bad in there. Like, I implore individuals to look more into the connections of this because it's a laundry list, including their obsessions with their individuals, their charismatic nature, their government as well, because Manchester Black was let out of prison to be a government agent. So there's a lot going into that as well, because he was also partly a Suicide Squad member for a little bit. So I think this is really cool. There's a lot that you can do with the fight and stuff. I also think it's really debatable because Manchester kind of just lacks physical stats, right? His fights with Superman are never he's taking punches from him. It comes down to speed, which I know people have had an issue with Manchester's speed because some of his arguments are a bit weird. But he should be around similar ballparks to Makima. So I think that the debate is really interesting.
I got a question for you, Saul, on this match. I guess question. I think it's the matchup. I was wondering, so like for the fight, right? I'm just saying, could it be possible having a fight? Like, what if the flame is it the flame hybrid / devil, right? That's what I call it. He comes out, right, and he fires his flames at like Manchester Black, but Manchester Black, just like the Superman example you gave, he stops the flames like at a certain point just so he can light his cigarette, and then he just
he
eliminates the flame double.
For those who don't know what Jobber is talking about, there's a really cool comic issue of Superman firing his heat vision at a Manchester. Manchester stops it in midair, leans over with his cigarette because he's a chronic smoker, lights it up, and knocks Superman away. Like, this guy is super, super cool. I don't want to go into the literal laundry list of thematics, but it touches on every part of their character. In terms of, like, I mean, from everything, in terms of, like, them generally wanting to die at the hands of their hero because they believe it would be, like, an honor of sorts. Of, like, that's the whole reason he wants to break Superman in Superman versus the Elite, is that he would be, like, framed as, like, a martyr, you know? Yeah, and, like, Manchester's own hate of Superman's refusal to murder criminals, Like, he believes that the status quo that Superman has created is like a good little dream for superhero hijinks rather than like an effective hero. So I think there's really cool stuff here. Again, I think this is super thematic for both. I love Manchester. I want to cover a more underrated Superman villain who isn't just Doomsday or Lex.
Yeah, that's kind of all they really get. Now I think about it. Dark Side.
Darkseid, Superman, Lex. And,
Yeah.
you know, Mr. Mixer-Swindlick was brought up here. But, again, there is a lot going on with the thematics here. Please read my blog to learn more about Manchester.
This is a great matchup. Well said, Saul.
Ooh.
This one.
What is Logan SCP Lover? I don't know what that is. Anyway, what is this? What am I looking at?
Okay, so for starters, I mostly submit this one because the Indigo Tribe is my favorite part of Lantern Corps lore. I personally have a ring. I consider myself a compassionate person. But at the same time, this matchup is two different groups of supposedly heroic people who deal with evil people by beating the crap out of them until they realize what they did was wrong. So to get into better detail about this, Rex submitted this, and I think they wrote out the connections very well. The Phantom Thieves and the Indigo Tribe of Lantern Corps are two heroic forces who seek to redeem and assist evil people and make them feel regret and horror over their actions. Their main leader was a person who committed / seemed to commit a crime. Joker framed for assault, and Indigo 1 killing Avensur's daughter, only to join a newly made group that seeks to reform and redeem people from the actions they committed, the Phantom Thieves and the Indigo Tribe. Said group created about the discovery of mysterious power, the metaverse, and the Indigo Light. One of their main members are a former antagonist who were saved by the group, Persona 5 spoiler, and Black Hand saved by Indigo 1. But the main contrast of it, that I think is a driving force of the matchup, is that the Phantom Thieves redeemed their enemies by making them feel regret and making them better people, while the Indigo Tribe redeems their enemies by brainwashing and lobotomizing them into the core. Basically, if an Indigo Lantern decides that you are a bad person, you're basically getting like a penance stare. You are grafted a ring and mind controlled into being part of their core. They first did to Sinestro when they were first introduced in Green Lantern's comics. They do it as much as they like. They decide that their compassion, in quotes, is determined by you serving out what you should do for being a horrible person. They're like a less aggressive version of the Red Lantern Corps. So why would this apply to the Phantom Thieves? Because the Phantom Thieves are people who forcibly make evil people confront their actions to do the right thing. That their hearts are twisted, so they will be taking them and forcing them to see better. The Indigo Tribe will see this as, you're doing what we do. That's bad. Stop that. We're going to assimilate you all now.
That's actually more interesting than I thought it was going to be, if I'm being honest.
It's very interesting.
A little fun fact too is that
you go first.
A little fun fact is that the Indigo Lanterns are specifically Indigo Tribe instead of Indigo Corps, and instead of a lantern recharging their rings, they use big staffs with a hollow point, which is exclusive to their corps. Their core. I think it's a really interesting detail, and their oath is also in an alien language made up for the series that has been translated into English. It's a little hard to say, but it's also the only oath that is written in a different language in DC Comics. It's very interesting stuff. I like this concept a lot. I'm not sure how it'd be framed. I like the concept.
Phantom Thieves, they have their personas. They do a bunch of different things, a bunch of different elements. You can curse people, you can set them on fire, yada yada, whatever. They got guns, knives, different weapons. How do the Indigo Lanterns fight? I actually only really know about Green and Yellow Lanterns. Are they just the same kind of shtick?
The main thing is the same of constructs of what they can imagine, but their favorite things are to restrain you until you can't move and then forcing you into their tribe. Basically, practically getting branded on the head with the logo and then mind controlled into being part of them. So
But
the
how do
main
they?
thing is about basically
But how do they fight? You know what I mean? Like, what are they gonna do
yeah.
before they restrain them?
They're going to be creating constructs like most Lantern cores, and then using things like the stats have been used to fire out giant beams of laser energy. It's mostly going to be just creating constructs in general and trying to wear down their personas until they can get to the Phantom Thieves to directly assimilate them.
Hmm.
Yeah, Pins is pretty as far as Lantern fighting goes, it's pretty standard.
Okay.
What sets them apart is their moralities and mindsets on justice and redemption.
Will we give the Indigo Tribe Jon Stewart? What?
Ooh, I mean, he was okay. So I do know what they're talking about. That's like it was a one-off thing, though. Basically, the reason why. Okay, so during an event where essentially the Green Lantern rings they were like corrupted because of Parallax. Essentially, Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, John Stewart. I think those were like the main three. I'm pretty sure. I think maybe Kyle was there. I'm not sure, but essentially they had to deal with Parallax. And the only way they could deal with Parallax, but they can't use the Green Lantern rings. They had to use new rings instead, like Rage combined with like another emotion maybe, and basically they had to use different emotions instead of like just will, and they had to face off against Parallax. From what I remember, at least reading that comic, and John Stewart, he did have the Indigo Lantern, and he was like, "Dang, this shit's like really weird and stuff like that." But they all used their different emotional rings and stuff like that. Maybe it was Chrome. I'm not sure, but regardless, they couldn't use their Green Lantern rings. They had to use other emotions. And John Stewart did wield the Indigo Lantern ring once, and that was it for that scenario.
Okay. Then probably not if it's just a one scenario thing.
I'd say probably not as well. Yeah. Um, one note I do want to make is that I think the perfect set in the world, which I will make the Persona 5 spoiler now, is perfect set in the world is most of the Indigo Tribe members are literally made up of the biggest sociopaths and monsters in the DC universe. So ostensibly the fight would be, um, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. I'm so sorry. Akechi is now an Indigo Lantern, and the Phantom Thieves are trying to save him. That's all the setup you need. The Indigo Lanterns came to Earth. They assimilated Akechi. They are trying to free him from them, and they decide that the Phantom Thieves belong in their core for forcing them their mindsets of trying to take people's hearts.
There'd be a
It's
lot to
like,
cover and a lot to learn.
yeah,
Absolutely, there's a lot to go over. Oh, and their embodiment of compassion, because if you remember back in Ben versus Hal, how they talked about how each emotional spectrum has a different animal representing it. For the Indigo Lanterns, it's a giant squid named Procylith. It is a cephalopod that's giant and purple
What the?
because comics.
Lanterns are
yeah.
fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely crazy. And like I think with Indigo Lanterns, right? They're more because in DC, like what they do is it's like it's like on paper, it's like okay, I guess that could be a good thing, but like the process behind it, it's like even Batman was like, yo, that's kind of like fucked up. Where it's like where the whole lobotomizing them, right? And basically they're whoever gets taken into as an Indigo Lantern, it could be let's say the Joker. They are a completely different person than they were before. They're not even the same person anymore, essentially, and they're pretty much lobotomized, right? And they're just like well, they're just Indigo tribe members essentially, and just takes
Mhm.
away like they haven't truly, basically they have not like I guess truly changed that person's heart development, like because as soon as they're not Indigo tribe anymore, they're back to what they used to be. But with the Phantom Thieves, when the person changes, that's like it's more so of a how can I put it? It's not really a reversible change. They're still that same person, but they've now been forced to essentially acknowledge the bad shit they've done and like essentially like have a redemption where they redeem themselves and try to become better people, right?
Mhm.
It's like they're similar. It's like they're yeah. I get the comparison. They're both pretty similar, but they have wildly different outcomes, I guess, is probably the best way of putting it when comparing the Phantom Thieves to the Indigo Tribes, which puts them at odds with each other.
Yeah. I will note one power they have is I did a quick search to see if there's anything that's missing. Is the Indigo Light can also heal individuals with great empathy, but exposes people to the pain they have inflicted on others.
Oh, god dang.
We've never seen that before in a comic book versus episode.
No,
Never
right?
before and never again.
It's like God damn it, Joker, you like this is what you get for spamming Izunagi reveal the truths like that. Like the whole, he's like, bro, that was like a whole thing. Like the Persona 5, I think of Roy. I was like, oh, I got this DLC of what was it? You Murakami's Persona reveal lights of truth. Like just obliterates everybody like to like a certain point.
Hey,
Oh my
Chopper.
gosh.
I myself am a very compassionate person. I like the idea of the Indigo Lanterns a lot. It's a fun idea. I think it's a really cool concept. Thank you.
Yeah. We move on to a rather infamous matchup. But I mean, hey, like I guess I do kind of like it's kind of growing on me a little bit. It's Ben 10 versus Green Lantern. I'm sorry, but like I don't know. I feel like this would be a really cool thing to cover essentially for this matchup. I feel like Ben definitely needs a like it'd be really cool for us to cover Ben's analysis. Like, I mean, what was it all you like? You're thinking about doing some stuff like that from like scratch or something like just like go over Ben real quick. You know, like what all the stuff he has, more of his interesting history, and same with Hal Jordan. He has like a ton of cool stuff, and I'd be totally down to like edits for something like that. You know, probably could do some really cool things with the comic panels and the footage, and also maybe some comic stuff we get for Ben as well. But they're both really cool characters and stuff like that. I think the fight's definitely worth giving another look.
The fuck is
That's pretty much all I got.
Do people still? I'm curious. Do people still want to see this? Like,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes, that will never change. That people want to see this like all the time. Even like it. There's a lot of people that want to see this. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if Death Battle eventually just like another show like Death Battle like eventually just returns to that like I guess concept, right? Because it's a very very infamous matchup or episode, right? Or stuff like that. The people will really want to see people cover this again, right? And Noverse shows I guess covered it again, right? So yeah, I people definitely want to see this, like you know.
what could you exactly do differently? You know, like I feel like the outcome's probably the same.
Make it 3D.
3D would be rough because you would need to have. It would either use kind
That's
of
all
like
I have. That's all I have. You make it 3D and you give a better death.
I feel like Alien X could be used a lot better. I feel
Why
like
not
there's a
use it
lot
at all?
more. I feel like there's a lot more interesting power interactions you could have, like maybe upgrade trying to dismantle the ring and feedback maybe trying to drain the energy because feedback doesn't need to specifically do that against technology. It also works with like life force stuff, so it probably would also work with the ring.
I think there should have been more uses of like Ben's different types of aliens. Like, I mean, I don't want to name any specific ones out, but basically, if you could just use master control, something like I think Ben did as a kid, right? I think it was in the Null Void fighting off against I think it was Vilgax and what was it, Kevin?
Kevin, yeah, it was
Yeah, like
Void.
yeah, the Null Void, right? Where he was just like basically imagine during the fight with Hal Jordan, like he's constantly switching between aliens without even having to like basically hit his watch at all, right? Just different, like bam, like it's really dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Like you can have really cool moments like that.
The budget gets eaten so quickly with a sequence like that.
True, but you know what? I feel like that sequence would be kind of like it's just a constant switch. Like and it's like right here with this alien, he's doing this, then he switches to this, then that, then that. It's like almost like disorienting to like Hal Jordan as like it's like dang, like He's just constantly throwing
say-
different abilities at me. It's crazy.
I'll say one thing. If we did this would fucking bang in views. Holy shit! This
Yeah,
would be
but
a,
Ben would.
this would
but-
this would be a views merchant.
but
Yep.
Ben would die, and half those views would be hate views. So
I mean,
I mean that didn't stop Kara EXE.
fair
yeah,
enough,
true, but, you know,
bro. You can't even win with Kara X because the one with the alternate ending gets just as much hate as the one with the real ending we have. So it wouldn't even matter who won in the end.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's cooler stuff that you could do with what Hal can do. I would rather just do a completely different lantern. Like even in the Green Lantern Corps itself, I'd rather do someone like John Stewart or Guy Gardner before I think of bringing Hal.
okay.
Why would you want someone who's just a gardener? What's he gonna do?
Gardner?
So like, yeah, I don't know. There's cool stuff you can do here. I feel like you could have I feel like the interactions between the existence of Erasure could be a lot better. Oh, this is the one that I picked.
Yes,
Not
sir.
submitted. I didn't submit this one, but someone else submitted this one. Because I really like this one. This is Old Man Logan from Marvel versus the last Ronin from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I don't know how much people actually know about these two, but basically the last Ronin is a IDW series that follows basically just a very messed up universe in TMNT, where it's Michelangelo who is like the last Ronin, funny enough, following him and that, and then Old Man Logan is again another kind of messed up timeline one.
I thought Old Man Logan was just like kind of always the end.
No, he's an alternative version
Okay.
of Logan.
Okay. Does he have a dedicated universe where we know he's from, or is it just?
Yeah, he does. He has
Okay,
his own
okay.
alternative. Again, another messed up one. Like the Hulks in those universes are very messed up, where they're like inbreeding merchants who
Ew.
kill people, or like Wolverine's family and stuff. This
Jesus.
would be a very sad one to do in terms of a fight. You know, I feel like the tone. I mean, the custom track this got by Fairwolf Media uses Johnny Cash's "Hurt" as the main track.
Damn.
Which, yeah, it's very sad. I feel like you could have a very, very down and sad, kind of depressing analysis in terms of like covering these alternative universes and these heroes who have like fallen. You can have them
Yeah.
come across each other, and I mean, there would obviously be some distrust given the world they're in, so that sets up a fight naturally. No matter who, I feel like I would like to end this in death still.
Yeah,
Just
I
because
feel
I
like
feel-
that's appropriate.
Yeah, they're not really going to spare each other, but I can see them paying respects, you know? Like, if Ronan dies, you can have him, you know, tell his brothers that he's coming home or something, you know?
Yeah, both characters kind of have a bittersweet feeling towards their own death.
Yeah, like, I love this one. This is... I like the people who are saying this fight needs to be in a bar. I 100% agree. But I find that with, like, most of Wolverine's matchups. Like, most of them start in a bar. This would just be very sad, and I feel like that's a really interesting tone for a Versus episode. Because you don't really get a lot of, like, sad fights, do you?
Yeah.
So, I would love to cover these two. I don't really have much to say because, again, it's like they aren't really, they're not complicated, you know, in terms of like abilities and stuff. Old Man Logan still has his like adamantium claws and stuff.
I feel like
And
both of their kits are very like you kind of know what they do.
Yeah. I think I would really like to like. This is a really close debate, from what I've heard as well. It really depends on if you believe that Old Man Logan scales to the main universe stuff. Because if he doesn't, I think Ronan has better direct feats. Like,
Oh.
I have a confession to make on this one.
okay.
I did not care for Old Man Logan. It insists upon itself.
It insists.
No, in all seriousness, I'll just be blunt. I don't find a matchup where one of the characters' stories involves incest, cannibal, hillbilly Hulk children very emotionally engaging. I get why people like this one so much. I do not like the source material on Logan's side, and I've never just been a very big fan of it.
I mean,
That being
guess,
said, I think Last Ronin's side is perfectly fine. I get why it's so popular.
I
That is
guess,
just my 2 cents on it.
but like some of the matchups that I see some other people pushing, especially some of the media, you know.
There's a lot of fucked up media out there.
And especially with even people in this server, like, I know that you're a big fan of Made in Abyss, Paul, which...
I'm not a big fan of it. I like a matchup, 2 matchup of one characters. I'm not a huge fan of the source material.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what you mean. And I will clarify, I do really like Logan, the movie. I do really like Logan. I'll clarify that. I felt that did this concept better.
That's fair. Yeah, Made in Abyss is fucked. But, yeah. You don't really need to like a source material to like a matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's plenty of matchups I fuck with shows or comics or movies or whatever that I don't like. So I don't really think that's a demerit. But
that's all. It's just more I need to get off my chest.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to talk a bit more about the dynamic and stuff because funny, he has Michelangelo has all of the other ninja weapons as well. He has the katana, he has the sai, he has the bow staff, he has ninja stars throwing knives, bombs, grappling hooks. So those against Wolverine's healing and his own claws, I feel like makes for a really good fight.
And Ronan wins. And Ronan wins, so that makes it better.
Dang. Yeah, I think this it's a neat matchup. Yeah, well, and also it's kind of depressing too. Like, that's what it says. It's neat, but dang, is it depressing?
Yeah.
Saul would write it. Yay!
Oh, this one.
Now it's Paul.
Okay. Dispatch is a really great game. This is Mecha Man, aka Robert Robertson III, the main character of Dispatch, voiced by Aaron Paul. The main concept behind this matchup is one of those themes that I constantly just instantly attach to: the man who tries to do everything. Mecha Man is the third of his family to try and take on the mantle and loses the robot suit that he uses because he lacks powers to try and fight crime with. But when it gets destroyed, he gets the offer to work for SDN, the Superhero Dispatch Network, as a director of other superheroes. And despite him having no powers, having held himself together both physically and financially with scraps for years, and expecting to just die in the suit the same as his father and his father before him, he continues to keep going. He is a very snarky, blunt character that can be very entertaining, but also is a very vulnerable person and can be just very open with how much he's struggling to even push through day to day and feeling like he is losing everyone around him. And I think it really tackles those aspects of Peter as a character that people don't look at as much. The fact that, well, he is still just a man trying to do what he can, and push through with it, even when the entire world, and not just Marvel Editorial, is beating down on him through and through. I also like personally the connection of that some versions of Spider-Man, most notably the cartoon Ultimate Spider-Man, he did train a group of new heroes with the Web Warriors. So there is that connection between them. Obviously, this is a very early matchup. Dispatch has one season so far. They've discussed a second one, but that hasn't been confirmed. So there isn't a lot to it as of yet. But I think it shows a lot of potential, and I like where the two of them could go as characters.
Wait, Dispatch isn't done.
So they did one season. Again, it's because Dispatch is a Telltale style game. It's going to be in chunks, assuming they continue with the game. They did one full, they did one full season, which was about 6 chapters total, and gave a good amount as is. And we will see if they continue with it as a game, because Dispatch was originally going to be a TV show that got made into a video game when that did not work. So we will see where it goes from here.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Saul had something to say about this. Yeah, he might not be here. So, Jabber, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it seems like an interesting matchup. I kind of get where it's coming from. Yeah, that's all I can really say about it.
I feel like right now Peter probably sucker punches the fuck out of this guy.
Wait,
Relatively, yeah.
what?
Dispatch's stats haven't been nailed down yet, but for the most part, yeah.
But he's just he's just straight here.
I do have one complaint though. It's that Mecha Man's render is poking over on Peter's side in the bottom middle, or the divider.
Yeah, I noticed
So,
that.
terrible thumbnail, bad matchup. Do not make it. Shameful.
It's unrecoverable.
It's like forgetting the hyphen.
No more hyphen. Saul's back.
Yeah, I am. I had to do something.
Do you want to give your thoughts on this before we move on?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Jobber.
Yo, oh, wow. Yeah, it's Steven Universe versus Invincible. I don't know, they're very similar characters. One comes from one comes from Cartoon Network, one comes from Amazon animated series, or specifically from Image Comics. But both are essentially half alien, half human hybrids of very important alien figures, essentially, and they kind of like have to struggle with like, I don't want to become like my parent that's like a really shitty person, or at least for that's actually kind of interesting about Rose. It's like with Omni. Okay, so with Rose, right? We saw her character development backwards, if that makes any sense. We only like from what's presented in this series, like, oh dang, she's a really good person, but when we learn about her past, like, oh dang, she was like actually like a pretty bad person, but like she grew to become a better person. That's like she is backwards. I've never seen that before. Backwards character development. That's crazy. But like with Omni Man, like he's kind of just like he had this plan, like, oh dude, I'm gonna take over the planet and stuff like that, Ultimate stuff, and he did like a lot of bad things during the time, and then we saw his character development in a forwards way. I was like, oh, well, he did the bad things right now. And then he tried to get better and better. Obviously, some people could really forgive him. And you can't blame him. But I don't know. It basically tied. I feel like this matchup has heavy ties with them and their parents and how they overcome that in the end of the day, right? And they're not basically the messages. They're not their parents. They're them, right? Like Steven, like that was a whole big plot point of Steven Universe is if they took the gem out of him, would it just reveal it to just be his like mom the entire time? Like he was actually just his mom, like he was actually just Rose, right? But when they took the gem out, it was just him. And that's the best part about Steven Universe. It was him. He's like, it was me. Like I am me, right? Because he had the identity crisis, like he never knew until then, right? And all that type of stuff, his own independence. And Mark, he eventually grows and he's like, you realize that, okay, I'm not my father. I'm me, right? That's the kind of gist. And both of them grow up and eventually have peace with their lives, you know? But I'm not going to spoil the Invincible comics, but yeah, I'll just say like it's a good ending at least for both these characters. I mean, some people say like, oh, but the fight dynamic. I mean, it's not unique because like I don't know, Invincible just goes with fists, like just punching people, right? It's like and Steven has like just shields. I'm like, well, I mean, Invincible in his matchup, he's not really. He's just I guess a stat break right? He's just throwing hands essentially. I mean, he could probably do some little creative things, like make like spin like a little tornado on the ground, but he's just throwing hands at people. And you put him against other people, like I don't know, transfer characters, they're just throwing hands at each other. But this one, it's kind of like you see Steven. Steven could throw hands as well. They could have a back and forth, but Steven has all these other defensive abilities to use. And essentially, Invincible would kind of view Steven as like, oh, he's kind of like Adam Eve in a sense, right? Creating all these constructs and stuff to protect himself and like throw at Mark and stuff. And Steven would kind of view just Mark as like, oh, he's like Jasper, like very hand to hand, like flying around fighter type of beat. I think I mean, I think the fight could be maybe like a misunderstanding or like Invincible due to how both Steven and like Invincible's morality work, where it's like it'd be kind of opposite ends. But like Steven doesn't want to kill like anybody at all. That's like his moral code. But like Invincible's like, listen, he will put people he will put people down if it really calls for it, especially if it's up against his family. And maybe like he's up against a gem monster and he's about to shatter it right after he poofs it. And Steven's like, yo, chill, that's crazy. Like we don't need to do that, right? And Invincible's like, yo, you're getting in my way, this and that. Like Cecil ordered me like to out here, right? And Steven just bubbles the monster away, and Invincible's like, bro, okay, now I have to throw hands with you because I need to know where that went, right? So I can get back to Cecil or something. And all that type of stuff, right? That, right? And I don't know. I feel like it's pretty cool fight. That's me. It was what y'all's thoughts.
Someone said, Pin said the only real problem is that it's a tone issue, and the fact Invincible matchup with no gore. I don't really agree with that.
I like tone issue. I mean, I remember. I think I
No.
saw like some posts like where it's like, I mean, even if it is a tone issue, I think it's more. I think it makes the match more unique, or like makes it even like more makes me want to write the match more creatively, I suppose. But I mean, tonally, like I don't think the tonal clash is that like supreme in this matchup at all. I mean, I think it's a little bit, but to be fair, but also with the stuff that Steven Universe covers, it covers the same exact like issues and crazy stuff that Invincible covers. Like very serious topics and issues, right? The same exact things. And that happened in Invincible happened in Steven Universe. At least meant for kids, right? And there is blood in Steven Universe. Now you're just thinking like, oh, are you talking about when Steve's like fell and he actually script is like, no, 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 no. I'm talking when Spinell like literally punched Steven in the face and he had like a bloody nose and like he also like had this bloody scratch on him from or bloody like it was a bloody little mark on his arm right from like the whole injector stuff or whatever from the movie. So and also, Steven has killed somebody. Like, no, he literally killed Jasper. So,
that
like,
was
I'm telling
that was okay. I didn't really want to say anything about this matchup, but that was unintentional. I feel like you're comparing two completely different things here.
oh, whoa, hold on. I mean, true, it was unintentional, but what was unintentional for, what was it? Because it's a comparison moment, is like Mark killing, that guy's big ass head, Dangstrom. Yeah, like
I get what you're saying in terms of like, yeah, Invincible has blood, but you're making it sound a lot more brutal than it was with Steven.
Oh, no, I'm not
saying it was a nosebleed that he wiped away. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I know. But I was just saying, like, basically, I was just pointing out there is blood. I'm not even saying, like, it's like Invincible levels. Oh, hell no. I don't want to go on that end. But I'm just saying that there is some things you could do there. Like, obviously, in this fight, like, you could have Steven bleed, like, a little bit, right? And stuff like that, basically. And, like, the fact of, like, killing where it's like, oh, if they kill each other, I'm not even saying, like, we would have them kill each other in the Nebula Theater matchup. But let's say for a death battle example, like, yeah, like, kill them, right? Where it's like, it would be purely accidental from both sides. Where like, because it's entirely possible, like how Steven, well, he killed Jasper. That's he shattered her. That was pretty. It's right there. And then like how Invincible accidentally, killed Angstrom, and that was the whole point. Is like I wasn't, like I thought you were stronger. Where it's like, oh well, it's a deeper meaning. He wasn't just saying about Angstrom, but he was saying about himself because he didn't want to resort to killing in the first place. It was
but like, Mark changes a lot from that point. Like that's very early series.
Yeah,
Where to literally after the Invincible War, he is like, "Fuck people, I got it,"
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I brought up like the whole like that was probably like what start the fight in the first place is like their changes in I guess they're like in Invincible's morality, right? Where it's like, oh no, he's a lot more willing to kill like now than let's say even Steven is. And Steven, I mean like Steven's morality didn't really change like in terms of, like, oh, he's like we're gonna go out here and kill people. But the one thing it did change is that at least Steven as in future, he is definitely a lot more willing to fight, like, and be a little bit more combative than he would as a kid. He's basically a little he's like he's a little teeny bit or less a bit pacifistic than he used to be as a child due to him being a teenager with all these emotions or whatever, but yeah, like I do get what you're saying that, like, but yeah, that's pretty much, I think, yeah, that's kind of like the things I point out. The Is there anything? I'm not sure if there's anything else, say, or something like that.
I think if you gave Steven his monster form, you could have some cool references put in there.
Maybe, but that comes from like an overwhelming immense of emotional like build up and trauma and stuff.
Yeah,
Which I
I,
don't know.
I think the only way
And he'll get
I
that
could.
when Mark holds him in front of a train and people's body breaks on his shield.
Well, it's true, but like I think the only way to like maybe like fit that monster form in, the only way I could think about is if, let's say, Mark and Invincible, or sorry, not Mark. Oh yeah, Mark and Invincible. Yeah, he's fighting himself. Oh my God, his mind. But Steven and Invincible, they are fighting each other, right? And basically, they accidentally crash into like this city, essentially, and well, the casualties are pretty high. Like they accidentally kill like a lot of people. Like, oh shit. I know. It's pretty bad. That's the only way I could think of. But
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
this feels getting into like this. I don't know. I really dislike that matchup.
I know, like, see, like
I like it a
the
lot.
monster form, that's
If
really
you
hard
think
to work into the fight.
I like it a lot. If you think it's a tone issue, just become a better writer. Anyway, Deadshot versus Bullseye.
Oh hey, I picked this one. Hi Pin. I know
That in
you're
a
watching.
sporting goods store.
So I feel like this is pretty easy to get in terms of connections, where they are their respective marksmen of their universes. I mean, there's more where it's like, they're known for their aim, marksmanship. You can get more into their characters with their like, abusive family and stuff, and them trying to kill their own fathers. But I really like the contrast of Deadshot is like an anti-hero at times, right? He's cold, he's like professional, and he loves his daughter. Bullseye is there for the love of the game. He is there because he wants to sadistically kill as many people as he can. The fight dynamic here is really good. Deadshot has a bunch of weapons that he's able to do, and obviously he's the man who can make basically any shot. He has his wrist blasters, which can fire bullets. He has his laser eyes, which can like show him where to shoot and stuff. Like he can do ricochet shots without looking, which is really cool. He's able to analyze materials. He has explosive rounds. He has incendiary rounds. He has laser pistols as well, which I think is really cool. Bullseye, in comparison, can use anything. And you might be thinking, "Oh, Saul, you must be exaggerating there." This guy has used baseballs, coins, pens, hats, toothpicks, his own snot, yo-yos and paper aeroplanes to kill people. He threw a dog at Venom to slow that guy down.
What the fuck?
Obviously, Bullseye has other weapons as well. I'm not going to just end it there. He mainly uses his cards, which are, they are like bladed weapons in his hands. He has pistols, knives, cable guns. His bones are laced with adamantium. Funny enough.
I did not
But
know
that
that.
also means, yeah, they are magnetic in nature and able to be melted, which,
What the fuck?
yeah. He has an assault rifle, a rocket launcher. He has a few other heroes' weapons as well. He has Elektra's Sai. He has Hawkeye's bow, which includes stuff like the explosive and sonic arrows. pin particle arrows and boomerang arrows. He has Daredevil's club. He's like snatched them on occasion and just been like bump and bounce them off. Yeah, Deadshot also has a grappling hook which allows him to keep up with stuff like that, as you might imagine. Again, I think this is a really cool Marvel vs. DC option because I feel like exploring these two are super awesome. I feel like I love Deadshot, I love Bullseye. I would love the reaction of that Deadshot would have in terms of he would start the fight being like, oh, this is a hired gunman, you know? And then going like, oh, this guy's a fucking maniac, I need to put him down now. I feel like the setup is really easy where they're both contracted to kill each other. You could even, like, I don't know, you could throw in, them working for Kingpin and Penguin, like, create even more of a story in the world, where Kingpin and Penguin have hired both to take each other out, and they're like, oh, okay, love of the game. Yeah, this is a brilliant personality contrast, as Pin said in the chat. I think it's pretty debatable, honestly. I personally have Bullseye winning, but yeah, I feel like this is like one of the most clear ones in general we've talked about today.
Let's like matchup. Yeah, it's pretty classic matchup. I love to see his stuff. Honestly, it's kind. I mean, they're both. I mean, I guess I could. Would we consider Deadshot like an anti-hero? Probably. I don't know. But
also, in terms of, sorry, I just wanted to. I read something in chat. Is that making a fight animation between two characters who literally never miss a shot go longer than 10 seconds would definitely be a challenge. Their suits are bulletproof. Like, it's gonna take more than just a standard bullet to put the two of them down.
Okay, well, that's definitely something cool up there. But like, I think it's kind of weird to say, but like, I mean, Deadshot's usually, let's say, he's viewed in more an antagonistic light, right? Because I mean, he's a basically a Batman villain, right? It's interesting that essentially Deadshot, he's the hero in this fight.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, he's the good guy. He's like, bro, like, because he's gonna see like Bullseye, what Bullseye is doing. He's like, holy, yeah, you got it. This isn't this. My contract to kill the other guy that you're protecting right now, or it's not worth it right now. I got to take you out because basically Deadshot be like, this is the type of guy for no reason in particular. He would just like start like throwing random shit at people on the street, and that maybe that could hit my daughter or something like that, right? Maybe like he has no like quandaries killing anybody. He's like, yeah, like this guy has to go. He's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like exploring that side of it makes it more interesting because Deadshot isn't going to be portrayed as, oh, he's just a generic villain, you know?
Yeah.
It allows us to cover a bit more of his interesting character and stuff against a guy who is the biggest psychopath that you could ever meet.
I mean, I feel like Bullseye, and people make this comparison too. I mean, I think it's probably fair, is that Bullseye is basically the Marvel's version of Joker in a way. Like, that's how crazy the guy is.
Yeah, I really like this one. I feel like this would be a really good one to start off with for Marvel and DC because, again, another kind of low-scaling one.
Yeah.
There's so many good ones.
Set it in a sporting goods store.
What would be? This is random. What would be your? Because Pin at the beginning, this was like he was like, this is the Marvel versus DC matchup for me. What would be yours?
Me?
Yeah. Well, just everyone in general.
I'm if we had one to start with, I would want to go really unique and do Howard the Duck versus Detective Chimp. I would love to cover those two. Holy shit.
What about you, Jobber?
I mean, I did submit Marvel. Actually, I think it might be the Marvel DC match for me, but we're gonna get to it soon. I feel in this one. I think I just submitted here, so we'll get to it soon. I don't want to reveal my cards too early.
Paul, how about you?
Probably Lizard versus Man-Bat at this point.
Oh yeah, that's right. We talk about them all here. Anyway, this one, Makima versus someone I don't recognize.
Greetings, Control Devil. Your crime is life. The punishment, death. This is Judge Death from the comic series Judge Dredd. And this matchup is all about making a better world for humanity by putting them all to their knees and underground. Judge Death, despite what many people would expect, is not simply an evil twin of Judge Dredd. He is what is known as one of the Dark Judges, a group of people from an alternate universe that came to Judge's world after thinking that enforcing the law means using homicidal psychoses on anyone who won't challenge his own authority. Doing something as simple as wasting his time, which he gets to decide if you're doing, he'll freely execute you. He believes that all life has no purpose unless they are dead, and that people are better off dead in his world. So he made that his world by slaughtering everyone within his own universe, except for the judges that worked with him. However, he grew impatient, feeling like he needed to bring this to other worlds, meeting alien dimension explorers, killing them, and moving on to the next world and the next one. His disturbed sense of justice has been wrought across all of the universe, knowing that there is only one crime and one punishment: life and death. With Makima, the comparisons that come between them is that they are both high ranking members of an organization who are based off of one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Death, of course, being based off of Death, with his other three dark judges being based off of the rest of the four horsemen. They are also known for controlling and manipulating others, including directly, and seek bringing order to a world of chaos by being supposedly saviors by making everyone beneath them and then beneath the ground. I really like this concept because it actually does anything for Judge Death beyond, look, that guy looks scary, put him against him, which is what Batman Who Laughs does. I really like that it plays with some of the ideas that you will see in other Makima matchups of establishing control over society and having such a disturbed, twisted outlook on what a proper society would be like, but with such a nihilistic and destructive perspective on it. And as for a fight, Judge Death is a very physical fighter. He will tear you apart with his fingernails. He can phase in and out of objects like a ghost. He loves doing this, to phase his hand into your body, find your heart, crush it inside your body, and then take his arm out. And then his three horsemen of the apocalypse each have a different power of their own. So in a way, you would witness the four horsemen versus Makima's contracts. But in terms of them trying to kill each other, this is one of my favorite parts. Because of Makima's contract involves if you kill her, it is passed on to someone else in Japan. Judge Death is going to love that. It goes from that point where he sees her inflicting a punishment on the Control Devil to him having a toy to play with and the rest of Japan being a victim of it. And he just freely tears her apart as much as he can to do so. But then if Makima really starts breaking apart his body, which really doesn't do much, it takes a lot to break into his body, so that his decayed, dead flesh he is in, he'll be okay because he is a spirit inhabiting a corpse, not simply a body on a mission. So if she basically tears his body apart or gets eaten alive or cut in half, his spirit comes out and he will find a way to possess a new living human, and in the process, see if he can possess Makima. I love how this literally is one of those most bleak outlooks for a matchup where no matter how it ends, you have Judge Death possessing Makima's body and gaining all of her power in the process, or Makima using the control chains on Death itself. But either way, it's just such a bleak but fascinating outlook on how it would work that really interests me. I think there's a really interesting dynamic between them. And Judge Dredd in general is very underutilized and would be a very fun series to discuss.
Somebody, Pin said, does this cover anything in Makima's deeper character?
So, to my current understanding, there is not a ton. It mostly revolves around their ideologies, but not as much Makima's relationships with other characters, especially with the Chainsaw Devil. And I can understand that being a turnoff for other people. Um, Death's main relationship towards someone beyond just killing them is actually Dredd's partner, Judge Anderson, who he feels he has a telepathic link with and thinks that he will never be able to rest until she is truly dead, and has even possessed her body repeatedly, only for her to outsmart him and get freed again. That's about the closest I can say in terms of more of a deeper character connection, as it mainly revolves around their ideologies itself towards a society and being in control.
It's like a vibes matchup.
Partially a vibes matchup. It's a core theme. It's a core theme matchup.
Oh god, my fucking. Oh, hold on. Sorry, you guys might not hear anything except me for a second, because my fucking. Just like what happened last time, my headphones decided to stop working halfway through for some reason. I think I can hear you
It
guys
says your
again.
stream is still running. We've paused this preview to save your resources, so I think they can still hear us.
I fixed it. My headphones, I don't know why they've been doing that. They just keep disconnecting, and since my headphones is what's getting recorded through OBS, like the sound coming from it, when my headphones disconnect, so does the audio through OBS. So it's a little
and then one fun fact I had that I learned about this that I want to make sure I brought up is that in the video game Dread versus Death, Judge Death was voiced by Nicholas Briggs, who you will know as the voice of the Daleks and Cybermen in Doctor Who.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's be honest, Paul. No, not everybody knows that. That's a fun fact for me.
I thought it was a fun fact.
I appreciate
when
it
I think of those
really awesome.
Yeah. When I think of those voices, I think that's exactly the kind of thing I would hear out of Death, just with a less robotic tone. So I do think that's really cool. He unfortunately was never featured in the Judge Dredd movies, which is a huge shame. But I do think he has some really cool things, and I really like the dynamic of the two of them and how disturbed their own ideologies are, and how much he would see Makima's contract as a benefit, not because he keeps trying to kill her, but because in the process she's doing the work for him. He can focus on one individual and wipe out all of Japan in the process. And I don't think you'd really get something like that in any other character fighting Makima. So I like that detail.
It seems interesting.
Honestly, I gotta. I'm looking at it was Judge Death, right?
Yes.
Like, he just. Are you sure this character is hasn't come out of he looks like he came out of the Evil Dead series. He looks like a Deadite, bro. Look at him. He's gnarly.
He kind of does. He kind of does, yeah.
This is pretty cool.
So, I'm going to start, because we've already almost been going 2.5 hours. I'm going to start imposing more of a time limit on how we talk, because I have to go shopping after this.
Very valid.
So we're going to move on a little bit. Oh.
Yeah, yo. Okay, I think this is the Marvel DC Marvel matchup for me. It's like, come on, the question versus the answer. This one's a come on, just think about the name of the matchup. It's literally the question versus the answer. Need I say more? Okay. Come on, you've got the question. He's one of my favorite DC characters of all time. And it's also most likely due to the Justice League animated, Justice League Unlimited anime series, right? But and also I like the concept of his character. This guy's always asking questions like, "Why is this? Why is that?" He's all a conspiracy theorist, right? And you've got the answer, who's, he's a street tier, just like the question, but he actually does have some weird, funky abilities you expect from his time, I guess, the comics sphere. But I don't know. This seems like it'd just be, I don't know, just a goofy, fun matchup. What do they do? These both seem pretty fun to go over.
In terms of, we've talked about doing jokish matchups on the show before. I feel like this would be an amazing, I guess, quote, April Fool's matchup in terms of like, what will nobody see coming and we can have a lot of just fucking fun with? Question versus answer.
Yeah. What like the promotion? Like I could imagine it. Like it's just it's Spawn saying like, what would happen when the question meets the answer? Find out next time. On Nebula Theater. Let's go. Amazing promotion. Like, I can see it. I precogged it. I have like epitaph from JoJo's. Like, if I was gonna say this, he's like, yeah, that's the good promotion. Like, what would happen when the question meets the answer? Find out next time on Nebula Theater. Woo! No, that's pretty cool.
Answer is also funny in terms of his powers are like, he just gets the fucking answer to whatever situations he's in. So basically, if he's surrounded by thugs, he will gain like super strength to beat them up because it's the perfect answer to that situation.
That's silly.
It
What
is,
is the
it's
question?
awesome.
What is the question? Does he just ask questions? Is that his shtick?
He's a detective, sort of.
Yeah, he's basically a conspiracy theorist, a detective. I'd say probably near the level, maybe near the level of Batman, depending how terrible you want to view him as. But um, he's a very cool, interesting character. Actually, there was one thing about the question that I do remember from one of his comics. Is like his detective skills are so great. He basically solved the conspiracy theory in Metropolis that basically not even like Superman didn't even know shit was happening. Like that Lex Luthor had like this whole underground thing going on or whatever. And the question not only figured it out, but like kind of stopped it. And if he didn't stop it, the Superman would have actually just been dead. So wherever Lex Luthor had planned, right? So he's a pretty skilled detective, at least in his own right. But also, there's the joke that he's a conspiracy theorist. So half the things he tries to solve, well, they're literally just conspiracy theories. They're not real. Like he's just oh, you think this is real? It's not. No one's doing anything. You're just overthinking it, right? But yeah, I don't know. He's a very interesting, down to earth, like street tier character. A very mysterious one. Multiple people can be the question. Um, yeah, just cool character.
Question is so cool. He's so awesome in the animated series.
Apparently, he
And
also
he
has a
bags
handgun.
and he also bags a complete baddie. Well, no,
True. Oh my God. Yes.
he has more than that. Like he can teleport, heal his injuries, communicate with spirits, create astral projections. Like he has a lot that would be able to play off the answers, like answer things, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I was worried that this literally was just two people who had no powers and no equipment, just called question and answer, and this guy knew everything, and this guy asked a bunch of questions, and that was it. And I was
No. Yeah, no, they do have their own set of powers and stuff.
I mean the question. I mean I guess he that's not his ability, but I guess he does always ask questions all the time. That's I guess that is a part of his character. It's because he always wants to find out the truth about a lot of things, and that leads him to becoming a conspiracy theorist, where he literally questions everything, and always goes to find out the answers to everything he questions. This is dumb. Oh my God, I feel so goofy saying this, but it's true. Like, oh God. Yep.
Oh,
Let's
okay,
see.
my one. So this is Amanda Waller from DC versus Cecil Stedman from Invincible. Spoilers for Invincible, because I'm not going to go light on this one in terms of spoilers, because it's kind of hard to talk about without it. I feel like people kind of get the theme in of this matchup already. It is in like shadowy individuals who run sort of kind of government related things to protecting the earth, and they have very unethical methods and moral compasses. This is an army battle between members of the Suicide Squad and the Guardians of the Globe and the people who work under Cecil. The only distinction being is that people who are no longer working under them or have only been around for like one issue would not be given to both. So, for example, people like fucking General Zod, Black Manta, Manchester Black would not be given to Amanda. and Invincible wouldn't be given to Cecil. But in terms of who they do get, you can have the basic members of the Suicide Squad with Harley, Boomerang, King Shark, Enchantress. Sorry, King Shark is really funny, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Cecil would be able to get the Guardians of the Globe. So, hey, the Immortal is back. How has he had 2 mentions today? Him, Robot, Shrinking Ray, all of those individuals, Rex. I think this is just really fun. The setups, the setup alone is very simple. Both of them go to deal with a threat. Cecil sees a bunch of villains just running and mucking about. He's like, hey, you can, he gets in contact with Amanda, and Amanda is like, screw you. Amanda, these are both humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they don't really have much apart from having like some guns and stuff, and obviously Cecil has his teleportation. I think, controversial opinion, I think Cecil wins this. Just definitively. I think it's a close debate. But you see, the Suicide Squad, to be under the control, have bombs in their head. Cecil on his team has Robot, who, spoilers, has enough bodies to take over the entire planet in the Invincible comics, and is a super genius who planned to take out every single human as a, contingency. And there's people like Donald and the rest of the GTA who could hack into the bombs and either blackmail the Suicide Squad or disable them. Which is really funny because King Shark canonically hates Waller. So even if it's disabled, King Shark will likely go after Waller. Just out of pure hatred for the woman.
I feel like they all hate her, right?
Yeah, some of them are like, whatever. Like, Deadshot's like, Harley's whatever. But King Shark fucking hates. Amanda does have Amazals. The Amazals, they're not actual Amazals, and there's only one of them, and that one is quite easily able to be hacked and taken over.
Oof.
And there's even a debate if we would give her the Amazal, because it technically wasn't even hers. It was like shared between another villain and stuff. I think that so we're not including anything Amanda has had in a recent event, like a group of Amazons and a whole load of Herald characters. Again, the Heralds depend on content. It's not like she isn't getting Heralds, by the way. Like, King Shark is a Herald. Enchantress is one as well. I just think this is a really fun fight. The only issue would be, oh my gosh, asset creation would be a nightmare. You can get away with a lot of the DC ones. I imagine they have sprites, right? Like
Probably.
Harley and stuff. I like the dialogue potential between the two of them, and the intelligence of both working out each other's locations. Cecil also just has like a bunch of Rihanna men that he's able to throw at the Suicide Squad, which, like, the high tiers of the Suicide Squad absolutely trump any of the Invincible characters, but the Invincible characters trump all of Amanda's low tiers, which I think creates an interesting fight dynamic. It's a way you can get a bunch of characters that would never be seen in a fight on screen. Like, we could get Clock King in here. I love Clock King.
Get Clock King out of here.
Whoa, leave him alone. Yeah, I don't know if failsafe would be given because it's not even hers. Failsafe belong. It's the Amazo
Okay.
robot thing. It's a kind of an Amazo robot thing. It was made by Batman.
Oh.
And then Waller managed to get it, but she needed the help of Time Commander, who is another supervillain, to mess with it. So I don't think it would be given.
So Cecil loses. Whose matchup
Yes.
was this?
This is Paul's.
Paul's.
This is
Okay.
Paul's.
Because I really don't know anything about either character.
I submitted it. I chose this. It was submitted by Rose Ray. Jubilee and Mina Ashido. I am a big My Hero Academia fan. I became one before Shigaraki vs. Mahito came out, and Mina is one of my favorite characters in it. And I think that this does so much more for Jubilee than Bakugo does. Both of these characters are teenage girls with superpowers that studied at a school for teaching superpowered beings like them because of a mutation in their body that granted them those powers. Mina's acid quirk, and Jubilee's explosive light. Both of them, however, I think match much more as characters, as they are both far more positive, upbeat, and very energized characters who really drive their group in a more positive direction. And I really enjoy that. I think they have such a fun dynamic together. I think the acid from Nina would pair really well visually with Jubilee's explosions and fireworks. You could really just have a lot of fun with the colors in this one. It would just be a lot of very flashy but fun designs between them and sliding through the acid. Jubilee using her explosions to move around more quickly. It's just as one where the vibe is so strong that you just need a basic connection for it and then just roll forward on it that I really enjoy. And also, Mina and Tsuyu are the best girls of My Hero Academia, so of course I'm going to be biased towards it.
Jubilee makes explosions, and Mina makes acid?
She forms acid from her hands that she can like shoot like a projectile. She can kind of slide on it. She became better at using it to where she created a form called Acid Man, where it wraps around her body fully like a suit of armor, and she fights with that. So that also makes her slightly taller. She's immune to her own acids and can't be hurt by them. And her superhero name is Pinky because she wanted to be called Alien Queen and got told she couldn't do that. So it's Jubilee versus Pinky in terms of in-universe.
Oh, God. Why is she, like, half purple, half...
That is the
like,
shading on this render. That's the shading on this render. Her skin is light pink.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like this is very straightforward.
It's a very straightforward, just very charming, very fun one. Jubilee, when written correctly, can be a very entertaining character and is, of course, very much a lot of the heart and soul and was for a long time the youthful energy of the X-Men, especially with the 90s cartoon. And I really think she plays off of Mina well there. I've seen Jubilee versus Bakugo get pushed, and my thing there is I really don't think Bakugo plays well off of her as a character. And that is something I care about a lot more when it comes to a dynamic like this. I think Mina and Jubilee just interact so much better off each other than Bakugo shouting obscenities and just exploding things over and over until Jubilee either dies or hits him harder.
I don't know where either of these characters scale. I don't know who is like a projected winner.
I'm not super sure who the winner is either. I'd have to look more into it directly because I'm not super familiar with My Hero Academia stats. And of course, the Class 1A does not all scale to Deku. That's not how it works. But it would be a very light but fun one.
So I think from my understanding, Mina should win.
I mean, if Deku beat Miles...
I think it's a thing of Mina should outstart everything but like Jubilee's like biggest explosion, but by that point she would already be gone.
Well, you gotta be fair now, Klein. Miles was the ultimate. Of course he lost. It was the ultimate corpse.
Spider, no hyphen man.
Anyway, I find it very charming. I like it a lot. This one's fun.
I think this is the last one we have to talk about today.
I believe so.
Is this what a Jobber?
This is Jobber.
I like this one. Jobber submitted it, so he goes first. Well, I have thoughts on this
Jobber?
one.
He said he'd be back.
No! It's literally the
sweet,
last
I'll beat him
one!
Too. Well, I'll beat him too, because I'm actually happen to be a Calvin Hobbes fan. Not fan, expert.
Let me clarify, I do not like it.
So first off, I am 90% sure the person submitted this for our show because we have made it clear that they do not have to end in death. Because my number one thing with Calvin and Hobbes is I don't think they fit on a versus show that is required to end in death. That's just not who the characters are. It can be a Calvin is a very over exuberant kid and can be a violent kid sometimes in his imagination. But still tonally just not fit with me. However, I don't think this works very well in a matchup where one character, anything that you give him for versus, is literally going to be from his own imagination, and the other actually is a cartoon character who does this kind of thing. In that case, being Garfield. I love seeing Calvin and Hobbes. I love talking about them. It is extremely nostalgic to me. I have options I would prefer that play very differently.
What if
I don't think this works very well.
What if the fight starts, right? It's Calvin reading a Garfield comic, and the fight happens in his imagination after. You can give him all of his imagination scaling. Boom. I just solved the matchup.
Well, if you use Calvin at all, you'd use his imagination. That's exactly how I think it is. Beyond that, he is literally just a kid with a tiger. Then
Yeah,
they've
but
occasionally
how would
survived
you-
falling
how
off
would-
with
how would
in
you-
their wagon, but still.
How would you even make a fair fight out of someone who just fights using their imagination, though?
I'd have them fight Bluey, and they both fight in their imagination.
Oh, I guess that's fair, yeah.
That's my genuine
This-
preference. I like the idea of both of them having an imagination fight together.
Pin fucking said Calvin versus Omori.
Yeah.
Oh no, no!
Keep cooking.
Yeah, very pretty thumbnail. For the most part, Hobbs has kind of a black outline that looks like a square. I think there's something wrong with the edit there if you squint at it. But I appreciate seeing Calvin Hobbs at all, as I'm a huge fan of it. It is one of the first comic strips I ever really got into. But I just don't think this works very well between them.
What do you think about that, Jobber?
Oh well.
Well said. Do we know?
You're lucky you have me
man?
here.
No, he said
I
he'll
have
be
no
back.
idea.
But I guess he can't be back. Oh.
Yeah, because this is the last one, and I need to get gone.
Yeah, so sorry.
Tell us how the stream went. It was amazing. Sorry.
That was an experience, all right.
That was the Comic Cast. People are asking if there's a part 2. The answer to that is if this hits 10,000 views. I will open up the submission box again, and we will do a part 2. But as for the next cast we're gonna do 2 weeks from today, that is going to be a Nintendo cast. I'm gonna open up the this is what I was telling you before the stream. My brain isn't working.
We just finished, Albert.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was saying I'd be late too. I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
Okay. 2 weeks, not next week, because I work because of my job. My availability switches every single week. And I work 12-hour shifts, so it's not like I can come home after 12 hours and be like, let's hop on stream. Fuck that. So 2 weeks from today, it'll be a Nintendo cast. Only one character has to be from a Nintendo franchise, yada yada. I'll have all the rules in the Discord. If you want to be on my Discord, it's in the comments, and you can go to my community tab as well. There should be links that won't expire on both of those areas. Yeah, I think that's it. I gotta go buy food, so I
Very
can survive.
fun, like always. Nice being on cast. You all had some very fun submissions. There are so many of these I really like talking about, and I think we would nail on the show.
I hope so too.
Yeah, we went through a lot of cool matches and stuff. That was very good. Like, very good cast overall, you know?
And I'm glad Jobber
And because
talked
all of
about
these
his
involve
last
comics.
matchup.
Oh well.
Bye.
And because all of these involve comics in some way,
Bye.
follow research